What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in. I'm Wyatt Bagnall.
Taylor Wallerstein.
And we have a packed show for you today, including the Week 6 breakdown of the NFL slate. But we're going to start off with something a little bit special, which is my guy here had a really great weekend with baseball, right?
Go fuck yourself.
You got your ass kicked by fucking Padres.
Nah, we kicked our own ass.
What was the series? How did it end? Remind me. What was the final?
It was 3-1.
Wow. Yeah. The Padres, huh? It looks like Southern California's got a new king.
Go fuck yourself. I had a feeling this was going to come. It's kind of what the Dodgers do, to be completely honest. So part of me was definitely afraid. We always ball out the regular season, and then playoffs come around, and all of a sudden we don't know how to play baseball anymore. Plenty of mistakes on our end. Definitely so many moments where I just threw my hands up in frustration, but always had faith in the team. And then watching a 5-run 7th inning on Game 4. I'm going to be honest, I don't remember the rest of the game because I got fucking sloshed. And to drown my sorrows away, I went to the bottle.
In holy water.
In
for
holy
the Padres.
Water. No.
You got beat by the Churchman with the ugly haircut.
We got beat by a team that spends $1.2 billion on 3 players. I'm not really worried about it. You know what?
You know what you should be worried about? How much money you guys spent to get bounced in the first round.
We spend less money. We spend less money than them. We put up 111 wins, so this team is definitely good. We're going to pay Trey Turner this offseason. We're going to come back with a vengeance. It's kind of what this team needed, was a little pop in the mouth. And coming from a divisional rival in the NLDS will do that to you.
We're going to come back next year and get bounced by the Giants.
That will never happen.
How would you feel if that happens next year? Just zoom into the future. Your hangover from the Padres will be nothing compared to if that happens.
I would much rather just kill myself.
Great.
To be honest with you. But that won't happen because the Giants fucking blow. So do the Padres.
What'd you say? I was going to say, what'd you say about the Padres earlier this year?
The Padres fucking blow. And they got away with a team that played down to their level, and that never works on any level. So I am excited for this Phillies matchup in the NLCS. Phillies won Game 1 tonight. So very excited to see Bryce Harper make it to the World Series. He deserves it. And Nick Castellanos, because I really just want the meme of deep left home run.
There you go.
With Castellanos in the World Series. That would make my day.
I literally have no idea who else is even in the MLB playoffs. I just knew about this, and as soon as I heard it, I was tickled pink about this potential conversation. I'm so happy. I mean, out of baseball teams, I actually like the Dodgers. Just, if you've ever been around Southern California or lived down there, you're going to like them. And just because of you, I am thinking that I'm going to have to just pick up the orange and black also, just for the hell of it. You know what I mean?
Be my guest and sign yourself up for some terrible baseball. And if that's
that is the sport, I think.
I think if you can really... if you can love pitching, you can love all aspects.
I can't.
Yeah, and that's your issue. Is pitching's an art. You got to love it. You got to understand it.
I like people getting hit.
See, that's not baseball.
I'm aware. That's not baseball. Thank you, Taylor, for shedding some light on baseball.
There you go.
But yeah, I just knew that I couldn't let us get through this show without bringing up what many people are calling an epic collapse, a choke job, against a team that he specifically talked shit about. So I love it.
They suck. They bought their way to the NLDS. They bought their way.
Really?
To the
You're going to talk about you're a Dodgers fan is going to talk about buying your way to
Absolutely I am. Because guess who had to fucking hear about buying my team for fucking 20 years of my fucking life? From fucking Padres
And you're going to
fans.
still hear it.
And I'm going to fucking still hear it when they spend $1.2 billion on 3 fucking players. A third of your fucking lineup is $1.2 billion.
How does that feel that 3 players beat you?
Team's a joke. I can't wait to
watch.
What,
the Dodgers? I agree.
No, I can't wait to see the Padres just fucking blow it in the NLCS, and then all of a sudden, life will be good again.
And then you just have to remind yourself that that team bounced you.
I'm okay with them bouncing us if they got lucky, just to see them play a real team and fucking lose. So I'm excited.
Well, you have been known to like lucky teams, so
Whatever, man.
Oh,
Good day.
that felt good.
I'm sure it did.
That felt good. I don't even give a damn about baseball. I just know that he was so excited. And this is everything. All right, awesome. Now, moving on to a sport that people care about. We're going to talk about football. So starting off, I'm just going to talk about how I did picking games. Went 9-5 this week. We had 4 teams on a bye with I think it was the Raiders, the Titans, the Texans, and there was one more. I can't even remember who the one more was. God damn it. Had to be somebody in the NFC, I'm sure. I don't know. But either way, I mean, I wish that Washington and Chicago were on a bye, but instead I had to watch them on Thursday night. Washington went to the Windy City and won 12-7 in a game that is forgetful. And another thing that should be forgotten is those goddamn orange helmets for the Bears. We can't do it.
Those uniforms in general. I mean, we talked about them earlier during the off season when we were talking about those alternate helmets.
Yeah,
and
it's not it.
I said I didn't like them already, and then when I actually saw it in action, oh my god, I wanted to vomit.
I mean, dude, I actually think that like the Bears like navy look and like normal looks actually a really cool look. I would like it if they brought back their like throwback with like the gray face mask, the neon orange letters and stuff like that. I mean, I think that's the look to bring back. We don't need to go like orange top. We're good.
No, I genuinely think, like I said earlier in the offseason, a lot of these teams who don't have an identity right now and don't really have anything positive to look forward to just kind of threw together an alternate helmet just because they could, and this is absolutely one of those teams. Nobody was asking for an all-orange helmet, but we got one because they couldn't do black because black and navy blue doesn't work. Here we fucking go.
I would honestly rather see it.
I would much rather look at a black helmet for the Bears and be like, wow, this looks like a Madden uniform than ever look at this awful uniform combo.
But overall, beyond just the jerseys, this was a game of 2 sloppy offenses, but this was also a game of wasted opportunities for the Bears. They got to the red zone 3 times and didn't score.
Yep.
That is the difference in this game, essentially. Mm-hmm. When I was doing my predictions for this game, this was one of the ones I got right. But I did say, like, in my predictions for that game, this is a game of 2 bad teams, so I didn't feel like real confident either way. Either one could mess it up. I just happened to guess right which one would mess up slightly less.
I mean, the king of Thursday Night Football, Carson Wentz, 7-0, undefeated.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm the Commanders, I'm petitioning to take over some Thursday night games.
I'm begging for it, and I'm only playing Carson Wentz on Thursday night games. Any other day of the week, Taylor Heineke.
I'm not. Listen, I mean, it's a sad state of affairs in Washington.
Yeah,
I mean, these are 2 teams that are going to be hanging around for like potentially the first overall pick sweepstakes, even though, boy, does Carolina feel like they have a stranglehold on it. But
are they in the lead?
If the draft was today, Carolina would be first overall.
Wow.
Vegas would be second due to some trades.
Wow.
Or something like that, I think.
Wow.
Actually, no. Vegas only has the 1 win, but it's sort of like, listen, if they pick second overall, that would be like that'd be a good team that gets a good player.
I would fucking tank.
Vegas might be the best 1-win team I've seen in a long time.
If I were them, I'd just fucking tank. Screw it.
I don't think they want to.
No, I don't think they want to. But if you get to a point where it's like playoffs are not a possibility, fuck it.
But overall, the Commanders and the Bears, these are 2 teams that'll be hovering somewhere around the top 5 for draft picks. And Washington is playing themselves out of a higher pick, which, I mean, whatever. I don't really care. The Commanders have so many other things to fix. But, yeah, sort of a forgettable Thursday night game. I'm totally cool not talking about it more.
I don't really have much more to say.
The only thing I'm curious about is supposedly Chase Young will be coming back soon. I don't think it helps that much, but it might help a little. So
it'll bring a little bit of joy back to the fan base, and I think that's kind of all you can ask for this season is just a little bit.
And they'll be really happy when they trade him. Now,
awesome.
No, I don't know. They won't trade him, but if I'm a bad team like that, I am listening to calls on anybody. I don't really care.
Sure.
Moving on, Baltimore 20 at Giants 24. I had said before this that if the Giants won this, I would stop saying that they're like bad, and I will hold true to this. What I have said, though, is this Giants team is last year's Titans team, where they're going to like win a bunch of games, especially because they got an easy stretch of their schedule coming up. They're going to win a bunch of games, get to the playoffs, and get bounced. So they're not. I don't think they'll win the East. I don't think anything like that. But at 5-1, they have a really good shot to at least get to the dance. But I just think that they'll have an early exit.
I think the Giants do best when they're a wild card, as we've seen before. Genuinely, this was kind of the game for me too, where I was like, okay, I kind of got to take them seriously now because I've wanted to play it cautious with them. I wanted to be excited because I love the Dayball hire, but there's really not a lot to be excited for over there.
No,
Like genuinely, like I can't name a single one of their wide receivers who's in Sterling Shepard because Kenny Galladay's all.
I was gonna say I can name
hurt.
3 of them, all 3 of them don't play.
Exactly, and like I mean, Kadarius Toney, I haven't seen that guy play in 2 years.
Those are the only ones I can name. I can name Toney. I can name Galladay, Shepard. Wait, no, I know 86.
They have Dante
Slayton.
Pettis too, and Darius Slayton, Sterling Shepard.
Shepard's out for the year.
Is he really?
Yeah, he got hurt a couple weeks ago.
See, I'm not even paying attention to the Giants.
Yeah, no, he's out for the year. It's. I don't exactly know why they're able to win these games, which is exactly why I'm saying they're the Titans. They feel like the Titans the whole year. Everyone was like, "That's like one of the weirdest 1 seeds we've ever seen."
Yeah.
They're not going to be the 1 seed, I don't think. But it's like that's still one of the weirdest things going on right now, and I just think when they actually run into some like a chain of good teams, it'll probably come crashing down. But good on them. They're a year ahead of schedule, or probably several years ahead of schedule in terms of record, which is both good and bad. But
do you pay Danny Dimes for a year?
Nope.
No? You move on?
No, I can't.
Well, who do you bring in?
I don't know. There's a million people. See who's available. I don't know, but. You can't pay him. You can't pay him like okay.
For a year.
How much is he willing to take? Like what? Like how low can we talk him down? Because if you're talking like I can get him on a totally reasonable deal, fine. But if he's like I think I'm worth this, no.
I think Danny Dimes comes off to me as a guy who is like knows he needs to prove it still.
Yep.
So if I think the Giants can come to an agreement with him of like a 1 year, not a franchise tag level deal of like the kind of money that goes into like the average, little below average, like bro, 16 mil for 1 year.
Little below average.
Oh, well, I mean, average is what, 20 mil, 24 mil.
Probably. I mean, it's weird. At this point, there is no like average quarterback deal. It's either you're getting paid a ton or you're not getting paid anything. Like the middling quarterback deal barely exists anymore.
Okay,
because they're all like, if you're even halfway good,
2 years, 25 mil. Would you take it with Danny Dimes? And with
would I pay him it? I
mean, you pay him that, but obviously you're still potentially looking for a new quarterback, but you're giving yourself some time to.
I'm not potentially looking for a new quarterback. I am looking for.
What if he balls out in those 2 years? Then you got your guy.
No, you don't. There has been no sign of life from him. I mean, he's playing well enough, but it's like
he's winning games.
Yes, but this is speaking as somebody who's had a quarterback who is winning games, but not like showing any real like, oh wow. I mean, there is a definite limit on what that can bring you. Granted, what the Giants have been, they could probably live with like being competitive and doing that for a few years. If I can get him at like a normal, not ludicrous deal, sure. But I'm not going to pay him anything that starts with 20.
Really?
No.
2 years?
No, yearly.
Yearly, okay.
2 years, 20, yeah, that's whatever.
That's pretty solid.
But I'm talking like single year stuff. He's not getting anything that starts with a 2.
Nah, I'd say...
Unless the number's 2 million.
Fair enough. I genuinely... I'd pay him 16 mil. I think that's kind of the most I'd pay him.
My thing is, I mean, they just have some bad contracts that they need to figure out already, which is basically their entire wide receiver room.
And that's absolutely true. So I think that's kind of why you're playing yourself out of a good quarterback pick right here, very clearly.
Yeah, unless they are already out.
Yeah, they're already out. They have an easy stretch of games. I think they do make wild card. I would Eagles. This is Eagles division. This is Eagles division to lose, and I don't see them losing it. Knock on wood for Eagles fans, but I could see the Giants, especially after this isn't exactly a dominant win by any means. I'm not going to say they crushed,
They
the
didn't.
Ravens.
They
But
got
they
it right at the very end.
But yeah, they did what they had to do to put themselves in that position. I think that's a competitive football team that I'm excited to watch a little bit more of.
Yep.
I am kind of just keeping tabs on Danny Dimes. I'm kind of the position of pay him something cheap if you can keep him, if there isn't a better option out there. But we'll see what the free agent market looks like. I'm sure there's somebody out there who's going to end up being available that the Giants would love to have and bring into their system. Who kind of elevates the team more than Danny Dimes can. I just can't think of anybody right now. But to that being said, this looks like a Colts team last year almost. That's where I kind of come in.
Really?
Yeah, because I think they don't have a wide receiver at all.
I think they'll achieve more.
And they're getting I think they'll get further. But I think Saquon is kind of taking over that JT role. And they don't have a single wide receiver who I'm really interested in, especially if you're talking fantasy purposes. I'm not touching any of them. If you're talking actual football,
I'm not touching any weapon on that offense that is not Saquon Barkley.
Exactly. And maybe their tight end, maybe they got a tight end in Bellinger, but is it just because of he's the only one available? Yeah, I don't know. So genuinely, it's interesting to see. I want to bring up really quickly, the Ravens. I'm gonna try to remain as unbiased as possible in this one because obviously I'm biased. So I'm gonna take a.
I'll give an unbiased take on them when you're done.
Perfect. I think it's a little bit alarming that they continue to find ways to lose games.
Mm-hmm.
I blame a little bit of that on Lamar. Not fully. I think the Harbaugh game plan is not going according to plan. I don't know what's going on. This defense should not be giving up the amount of points that they're giving up. Two teams that don't seem like they should be able to put up points. They beat us last week. Part of me thinks play calling might have been the issue on that we beat ourselves. But genuinely, they are a good team. They are a loaded team. That is not at all debatable. That they are absolute. They've got the talent. What the hell is going on? Because
I have a theory on this,
and I do want to hear it, but I'm going to give you my theory really quick. Is I think there's too many egos going on in that locker room, and they're not playing as a team. That's what it comes down to, is because a team this loaded, really no excuses. So I start to look at the locker room as where is this coming from? I think Lamar's on his way out because because he's not getting paid by the Ravens or respected in his opinion by the Ravens. Every time I see a comment thread on Instagram or Twitter, of the final score and everything, it's always photoshops of Lamar on other teams. And it's all fucking, I'm just hearing way too much drama coming out of this entire thing. I'm trying to remain
You're praying that he leaves, too.
I am praying that he leaves. I'd love to see the Ravens fucking
He would love to see the best quarterback in that division leave.
Whatever. Yeah, Kenny Pickett's the guy, actually. No, I'm kidding. And then Trubisky. And then Lamar. No, absolutely joking. Let's not even fucking take that out of context. I'm interested to see how this goes down because it's this kind of dysfunction that the Ravens seem to have that is going to lead to the Bengals winning the division because the Bengals are very much playing as a unit. Very much we're constantly adjusting. The play call is not looking too great. Yes, but then, we come out and play the Saints and, we're finally starting to have those adjustments that we're looking to see from Zach Taylor. I'm not saying Zach Taylor is a fucking goated coach, but I'm not.
You better not.
No.
I can only take so much from you.
In no way am I saying that. And to be honest, I'm going to be honest, Bengals fan, I'm getting frustrated with him too. But I don't want to overreact, and I'm not gonna call for everyone's
what
fucking
I say
job
before
fired.
the year.
Whatever. But remaining as unbiased as I possibly can, I think this is still something to be alarmed for the Ravens. Mm-hmm. I don't think their season's over. I think there's still obviously opportunity for them to win this division and take it over and go on a run because they are that talented. But I'm seeing more positive things come out of the Bengals than I am seeing from the Ravens, and the Ravens are a much more loaded roster. That should not be the case. So I'm gonna leave it right there. I will, give me your take and your theory.
Okay.
I would also like you to acknowledge that was a pretty fair take.
It was fair enough. It was about as objective as you could possibly be. I'll give you that.
Good character growth, everybody.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. He's on his arc. No, I agree. In terms of the late game stuff is alarming. I think a large part of it is their run game, like their pure run game, has not been what it was in recent years, so they're not able to close as well. Normally, it would be if they get out ahead of you at all, it's basically done. I think that Ronnie Stanley coming back is going to help them run better, but I think that's a big part of it on the offensive end. The defensive end, they just haven't played as well as they need to. I still have them winning this division because I just think they're the best. And, I mean, it's not going to be Pittsburgh. Cleveland has failed to close enough games. It's not going to be them. So it's going to be Baltimore, Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati is a 500 team-ish, and I think Baltimore, most of their issues are fixable once they get their line back settled with Ronnie Stanley coming off a pitch count. It's still not like I still don't like that this is happening with them. Is they play like 3 elite quarters every game and then lose it. I mean, there's a really strong argument that they should be undefeated also, which is, they're not. But I think that their issues are infinitely more fixable. I mean, if they do it a couple more times, I won't think that. But it just seems to me they just have issues like getting first downs, like when the game's ending and then their defense is out there entirely too much. That's my biggest thing with them. I think it's just closing the game on offense more than defense, because once anybody gets ahead, they start playing a little bit softer on defense. Maybe the Ravens need to stop doing that and play like they would the rest of the game, and just like stay aggressive the entire time. But I think a lot of it's on that offense of they basically stop moving in the fourth quarter. Once they try to just run out the clock, they're not able to right now. So that's my take on it. I'll talk about Cincinnati more when we get to them. But my overall thought is I just don't think the Bengals are capable beyond one position group. I don't think that they're capable of consistently beating good teams. Say it all you want. They haven't done it yet this year. Who have they beat this year that's like good?
Ourselves.
Yeah, shut up.
3 times.
Yeah.
You could,
this is a team you could say beat themselves 3 times.
You could make the argument that absolutely both Cincinnati and Baltimore could.
Baltimore has looked.
One of them would be 5-1, and one of them could be 6.
Baltimore looks way more dangerous and has looked more dangerous against better teams so far.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter because they're losing to bad teams.
And so are you.
We're beating ourselves.
Yeah, okay, there you go. Yeah, beating yourselves.
We're beating ourselves every single time.
Okay.
We're undefeated.
Fair enough. But you can say, I'll let you, whatever. You had your as close to an unbiased take as you can. That's fine.
I did a good job.
Last thoughts on
allowed to be an
Baltimore.
asshole now.
I think Baltimore, they can fix a lot of these late game ailments. It's a lot easier to fix this than it is to fix like getting blown out or like constantly having to come from behind.
Sure.
It's a lot easier to fix this situation than it is pick another team, pick like the Texans or something like that, where it's like nothing's clicking.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's over for Baltimore. I still got them favored in that division, and fair enough. But yeah, Giants. I'm not going to say they're fake anymore. They've now beat a legitimately good team, and I think that you guys are this year's version of the Titans.
Yeah, I think I'm interested to see where the rest of the season goes for the Giants, because I have constantly every single week been ready for them to not get it done and kind of start falling off a little bit. I think the Packers win was, granted I'm not going to sit here and I don't really believe in the Packers. This 3-3 is kind of fake. They very easily could be a 2-4 or 1-5 team. So I'm not that wasn't the game for me where I was convinced just yet. But this past weekend, I think after the Packers game of pulling that one off, the Giants are a legit team that may be a year away from being a real contender. But Daboll has done a great job already of really turning that team around, and that's where it starts.
Yeah.
So regardless of who the quarterback ends up being, regardless of who these weapons end up being, in the next year or something like that, you have positive trajectory, which the Giants haven't had since
a long time.
Yeah, exactly.
Since 2011.
So yeah, I think interesting to watch.
We're going to move on to a game that I don't think we're going to talk about much. Jacksonville at Indy. Jags 27, Colts 34. I'm not going to say Indy broke the curse because they beat Jacksonville at home. All the other years, it's in Jacksonville that they can't do it. The Jags are all the like potentially positive thoughts about them are done. I mean, this was a game where Trevor Lawrence actually played pretty well, but this is a game where nothing else really did. They showed that all those guys they paid in the offseason were not worth paying. They're going to be over the cap going into next year. That like they do dumb stuff, and if I'm Shad Khan, I want to see my front office replaced.
Isn't it Trent Baalke?
Yes, somebody I'm very familiar with.
Yeah, he fucking blows.
Yes, he put the 49ers in a hole that took us like 7 years to get out of.
Yeah, no, I've since back in the Niners days, that's when I genuinely was like, this guy's not good, and then they fired him in the offseason for Jacksonville, but then they were like, oh, nope, wait, we're bringing him back. So, because they were supposed to hire
Byron Leftwich, probably.
Byron Leftwich. They were supposed to bring him in. Byron Leftwich says, I'm not working with Trent Baalke.
Yeah.
They stick with Trent Baalke, and they bring in Doug Peterson, and Trent Baalke signs Christian Kirk to a massive deal, which ruins the wide receiver market.
Yep. So, I mean, Indy wins. They're up to, what is it? They got that tie in there, so they're probably like 3-2-1 now or something like that.
Kansas City. This game.
Denver.
Yeah,
they're up to 3-2-1, but this might be the least inspiring 3-2-1 I've seen.
Look, they righted the ship because you kind of have to.
How far right?
Well, that's what I'm saying is that like if they weren't able to win, like first of all, winning against Kansas City is more of Kansas City beating themselves.
I mean, what the hell?
But take the win. Because the win's a win. Beating Denver, I honestly had that picked because I think Denver fucking blows.
I mean, I consider that game a loss for both teams.
I consider a loss for football fans who have to watch Thursday Night Football.
That game, Indy does not get credit for that game.
No, but again, a win's a win.
No, they got to win, but I'm just saying the way I view them, even when they're winning, I'm like,
Well, no, and I agree with you, but then obviously with this win, this is a little bit more of there was actual offense in this fucking game. It wasn't, completely terrible. Again, I'm not saying that all of a sudden they're back on track and this is the team to beat in the AFC. Far from it, but you got the 3 wins you really needed to fix your 0-1, 0-0-1, and then 0-1-1 start. So, genuinely, like, they righted the ship as best they could. Maybe it's a patchwork fucking job that isn't going to last in the long term, which is what I believe. But they did what they had to, and they've won some games that they absolutely needed, especially when the AFC South looks as bad as it does. Like, what are they in the division lead now?
No, Tennessee still has it because Tennessee beat them head up already.
And are they 3-3? Or
they had a bye this week, so they'd be 3-2.
Okay, so yeah, I think Tennessee and Indianapolis kind of have a mid-off to see who wins that division.
Pretty sure they play again this week.
Well, I think that'll...
if Tennessee wins that game...
It's over for Indy. Yeah, I think Tennessee wins the division, and then it's completely over. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. I'm not really, I'm more interested in the Giants than I am the Colts.
I just don't want to talk about these two. I don't want to talk about anyone in the AFC South, really. Except, I'll give
Titans.
A minute and a half of thought to the Titans. I don't want to give anything else to these other ones. Like, the Colts, they're very clearly... a team that is beating bad teams. Half the time, they're not doing it in impressive fashion. Jags are just bad again, and the Texans are just awful, and the Titans are completely and totally average, which just might be the best of these 4. So,
I mean, yeah, it looks like average might take the division. So, I mean, if you can be mid, be mid.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say.
But, yeah, I mean, Jags are sunk, and Colts are... God, I don't know. They could win this division still just by dumb luck, but there's nothing to see in Indy. So I refuse to talk about this game more.
Yeah, we're done. I'm done.
Okay, New England at Cleveland.
Alec Pierce is dope.
Yeah, he played well. New England at Cleveland. Pats 38, Browns 15. I mean, okay, so here I'm going to talk about, everyone's talking about, Mac Jones, Bailey Zappi. I think you give the job back to Mac Jones because this is, the same type of situation. I mean, I think this is more realistic as a conversation than the Cooper Rush Dak thing. But, I mean...
It looks like 2 Mac Jones, though. Both of them honestly could...
They're the same thing. And I don't know, man. I just think Mac Jones hasn't played bad enough to lose his job. And
I think that's fair.
Sure, the Pats have won, but they also the Browns' defense is just not good. It's Myles Garrett plays awesome every week, and everyone else plays awful. So it's sort of like, okay, cool, you put up points on the Browns, great. I forget who the hell they beat last week, but it was another it was the Lions.
Oh yeah, the Patriots shut out the
Lions. So it's like, okay, so you beat the Lions and the Browns. Those are not two wins that are like, whoa.
I think the fact that the offense is moving a little bit more with Bailey Zappi is kind of what's getting people's attention. But to be honest,
dude, the Lions defense is the worst in the league, so you better.
I hope
and the
so,
Browns defense is also wildly underwhelming.
Yeah.
So it's not like they played stiff competition. I mean, that's just how I feel about it.
We are in a recency bias league, though, and that's how people think. Is that oh, wow, 2 great games by Bailey Zappi. We're looking at Brady v. Bledsoe again.
Yeah, I bet we are.
And it's like, oh, God, it's so dumb. No, I think you got to give the job back to Mac Jones, especially,
Back to Mac.
Back to Mac. He's proven himself. I don't think he's anything super special.
No.
I like his brain. I think he's a smart football player, and he's able to kind of, run an offense the way it needs to. He's had some bad luck, some bad beats with some of the... I mean, again, I can only name Jacoby Myers as the only wide receiver on that team. Maybe
Devontae Parker.
Nelson Aguilar.
Yep.
Is he there? So
Nelson Aguilar, Devontae Parker, Jacoby Myers.
So we can name 3 of them. So genuinely, it's not a great...
They also got 2 tight ends.
Well, yes, but Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith haven't been doing anything.
Elite.
They haven't been doing anything lights out either. So we can name 5 players, and
they have a whole bunch of weapons that all are mediocre.
Exactly. And against bad defenses, these guys will ball out. But who do they play this week? Do you know?
I had this written down, but let me actually. I think New England might be on a bye, but no, they're on here somewhere. Where the hell? I swear to God, I just saw them.
At the bottom, they're playing
Chicago. I mean, they're gonna win that,
and
they might win that just on defense.
There's another win. So I think the Patriots are taking advantage of a really easy schedule these past couple of weeks. I think whoever plays Bailey Zappi or fuck it. I'm gonna go on a quick little rant. 2 seconds. Can we just call him Bailey Zapp? I don't like Zappy. I don't care if that's how his name is actually fucking pronounced. It just doesn't work for me.
No, it's gotta be
I
Zapp.
fucking hate it. It's gotta be Zapp.
Yeah.
So I'm calling him Bailey Zapp from now on, and if he wants to come on here and fucking, clear it up and fucking call me a loser, hey, knock on my door, brother. We'll have that conversation. But I'm gonna call you Bailey Zapp because I think that sounds fucking sick. And this Zappy bullshit has been fucking making me go insane. So Bailey Zapp is probably going to have another chance to win this week, and people are going to go fucking nuts over it. Or if
they lose, that's over.
Oh, if they lose, the Bailey Zapp... I did it again. The Bailey Zapp experiment is completely fucking over because it was fun for a little bit, and he's clearly better than Brian Hoyer. We all fucking can guess that. I mean, my fucking left arm is better than Brian Hoyer, in my opinion. But genuinely, this is Mac Jones' team. Mac Jones hasn't done anything to really lose his job other than they started off a little bit slow this year, which is going to happen when you're playing decent teams with a bad offense. Mm-hmm. And they don't have an offensive coordinator. So I think that's part of the issue is that the offensive game plan is not fully, inspirational by any means or, just something that is completely game-changing. It's interesting to see that, they are starting to move the ball a little bit, but granted, again, bad defenses. I hope you're doing that. Mm. They're a great franchise, and it's a great head coach. And I don't think they're ever truly going... I think they're a 500 team. I don't think they're going to be bad.
You know what 500 football looks like, too.
Shut the fuck up. No, I don't. We're fucking AFC champions. But genuinely...
That one, I just stumbled onto it. I couldn't resist.
AFC champions, baby. I think that the Patriots are a 500 team strictly because it's kind of hard to see Bill Belichick not have a 500 team.
I mean, he's already shown that if they play anybody that's not great, they can just coach circles around them.
And I think they'll be able to take advantage of a couple more teams and end up with a decent record. But in this AFC, that has not been as advertised, to be completely honest.
No, there's only two. There's only two.
There's only two, but there are teams that are much better than that are
Than
at
the
500
Patriots,
that are
yeah.
better than the Patriots. And I gotta say, I think they're probably not making playoffs, and they've got some serious soul searching to do. You know what? Dark horse for Sean Payton to come in.
No.
To be
Unless Bill just retires.
No, to be an offensive coordinator if he doesn't want to be a head coach. Dark horse. Dark horse. I'm not saying it's likely. I'm saying.
I think I know where Sean Payton's going.
I think it's potential. It's probably Miami based on what we've seen.
Oh, that's who you think?
I think it's also Cowboys.
Oh,
and then
I think he's going to the Chargers.
Oh my God, that would be
I think he wants Herbo.
That'd be sick. Actually, I fuck with that.
You're like, now that.
Yeah. I didn't think about that, but I fuck with that. Also, fire Zach Taylor for Sean Payton.
He's not going to go to Cincy.
Make it a movement. Make it a movement, baby. Sean Payton, come to Cincy for Joe Burrow. You like number 9 from fucking NOLA, baby. You'll love this guy. Now, genuinely, if he doesn't want to be a head coach, and again, this is why I'm saying dark horse, because I don't think this is likely. And if we were talking
you want to
Vegas
talk about
odds,
egos?
yeah, that would be a fucking ego check for sure. He would have to shut the fuck up. Bill would obviously be head honcho still. But yeah, I think the odds on this are plus 3,000, maybe even more. So don't bet your money. Don't bet the mortgage on this one. But I think if he wasn't interested in being a head coach and he wanted to just run an offense and be a Josh McDaniels for a year before he came back into head coaching, I could see it happening. But again,
yeah,
not without any weapons. Not with Mac Jones.
No.
I think Sean in
Payton,
Madden it would be fun.
Sean Payton notoriously likes having a lot of control if he's going to do it. That's not the Pats. But yeah, I want to talk about Cleveland real quick because I think that they were the more interesting team going into this. They have now failed to close too many of these games that they should have won, that I don't think that they'll be a player when Deshaun Watson gets back. Not to mention, when he comes back, he'll be coming off 2 years, essentially, of not playing football. I would probably say 2 to 3 games of him having to get it back. And by that time, I think the Browns are gone. So I think Cleveland is sunk. I think the Pats are playing well enough, and they'll probably, like you said, end up somewhere around the 500 mark. But yeah, in terms of takeaways from the game, for me, it was that Cleveland's not going to be able to last.
No, I think Jacoby Brissett is very much proving that even as a backup, I don't think he's a guy. I don't think he's a guy who can win you games that you need to win. As we've seen, there have been some epic meltdowns that can't really fully be blamed on him. I understand the Jets game, hard to blame him. When he's not on the field for any of that. So granted, I'm not trying to be hard on the guy, but I mean,
he's not trying not to be hard.
Could have had Jimmy G, who has proven that he can win games. You could have had.
That's who I was campaigning to get Jimmy. I'm like, that's the team that if they had him, they'd actually probably be all right.
They'd probably be all right.
Yeah.
I mean, there are a couple other guys you could probably have brought into this team and done well with. They could have even brought in Teddy and even played decent with Teddy. So part of me wants to say, part of me is obviously being biased and saying they're cooked, they're done. Thank God I don't have to worry about them by the time I think we have to play Deshaun Watson right when he gets back, almost like I think the Ravens play him first and then we play him. I
think you'd rather switch places with Baltimore for that one.
I don't think 1 week of losing to Baltimore is going to make him come back and be the guy.
No, but I'm saying I think you'd rather catch him straight off the 2 years and not playing.
Oh, absolutely, I would. But 2 years in 1 week is just as good.
True.
Yeah, I think the Browns. I think you actually said it the best of saying that their defense has been underwhelming as fuck.
I think that is the most generous way to describe what they've done.
Yeah, because this defense. I mean, before the season when we were talking, we were saying this defense and this roster could carry Brissett to a point where Deshaun Watson comes in and balls the fuck out. That is not the case.
I think in large part offensively they've actually done it. The problem is
terrible at all.
Yeah, the problem is, and everyone's going to be like, what do you mean the offense has done it? They're losing the games. They're able to run the ball exceptionally well. Nick Chubb has been leading the league in rushing by a pretty good margin. The difference is They're not able to keep doing that when their defense gives up points. They have to, like, at some point, they have to throw.
Yeah.
So I think, honestly, their offense is held up their end of the bargain. It's that defense that's letting them down. And it really is everyone but Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett is, like, grading out as far and away the best edge rusher in the league. Oh, yeah. And he's doing great. But it's just the other 10. I mean, JOK is playing well individually at linebacker. And Denzel Ward shows flashes on and off at corner. But like 3 out of 11 is not enough. So, yeah, I mean, Cleveland, it's another lost year for Cleveland. Next year is when you really look at them and say, okay, maybe. But, they're not going to be able to survive.
What are they, 2-4 now?
Yes.
They're not 3-3.
Yeah, 2-4.
Yeah. So, yeah, they're 2-4. I mean, we were talking... The first stretch of their games, before the season we were saying they could easily go 5-1 based on roster alone, and they have underperformed massively in that department.
They had a chance in every game but this one.
Yeah. So, sorry, Cleveland. You're used to this, though, aren't you?
Yeah. If there's any teams that can take a punch, take the L's, it's those Ohio teams.
Shut the fuck up. I'm really surprised.
They're in Ohio, aren't they?
Yeah. Ohio football goes hard, just not Cleveland football.
The best football team in the state of Ohio is Ohio State.
Cincinnati Bengals. You know this. Genuinely, though, I think Bengals fans were hoping that this whole thing was going to be a happy ending, but those are illegal, so sorry.
Speaking of Ohio football, Bengals at Saints, Cincinnati 30, New Orleans 26.
Who day over who day?
Before I let you go, because this is where the bias takes end from him, I'm going to go ahead and start this off with a reasonable thing.
Sure.
Yep, Cincinnati won. That's great. I continue to be concerned with how often they refuse to just beat teams that they're clearly better than. Like, they keep having these close games with teams that it shouldn't be close with. And that's why I'm like, okay, every time they play a good team, they're not going to do it. They're not going to beat Buffalo. They're not going to beat Kansas City. They're not going to beat Baltimore. I mean, this is the one team that couldn't come back on Baltimore. Where it's like... I mean, listen, and not to mention, there is something to be said for the fact that, I mean, you can say it all you want, but this is part of it. The Saints were down several people. It's true. Objectively, it's true.
Everyone's hurting right now.
Yeah, some worse than others. You don't have to remind me. But
everyone's in pain right now.
If you look at
injuries all
if you want to look at the injury list for the San Francisco 49ers, it is a wild card playoff team that's sitting on the bench right now with injuries.
I don't ever want to hear about injuries. I watched Drew Lock get screwed out of a career with 20 guys on IR.
I don't give a fuck about the Broncos. But
I love you, Drew Lock.
But in terms of this game, Cincinnati won. Good on them. Got to win in the Superdome. Not an easy place to play. I think the Bengals will beat every injured and or mediocre team they play, and they will struggle against every competent team because they're going to be, I'm just going to say it like this, every good team is going to outcoach the fuck out of you by like pretty significant margin. And it's either going to be those wide receivers or nothing. Because you're not running the ball well enough, that O-line's not good enough, and that defense is not dominating people.
I'm biased.
So, I know I am not that biased. This is objectively true about how the Bengals are playing against good competition. I have.
Joe Mixon's been turning you around. The O-line's been turning you around. The defense has not given up a single touchdown.
Who'd you play?
Fucking
in this stretch.
Fucking Baltimore.
There's one good one.
Oh my god.
Miami without a quarterback.
They're still playing well with their backups.
They're absolutely not.
Dude, Tyreek Hill is leading the league in receiving with a backup.
Yes, but they're not scoring at all.
That's not my fault.
Okay.
That's not. Yeah, we helped with that.
Okay, sure, whatever you want to say. But the Bengals are going to end up 8-9, 9-8, just depending on what teams they play on what week. And they're going to miss the playoffs by one spot.
You're hating.
I said it in the offseason. I thought Cincy misses.
You're hating.
I thought Cincy misses.
If I wasn't a Cincy fan, you'd be like, they make it in the last spot. I guarantee it.
Okay, fine. If they make the playoffs, they'll make it with the last spot.
Oh, my God. I think they win the division.
It's not going to be... No.
They obviously win the division.
Obviously.
Oh, obviously.
Not even close.
Yeah, we're trending upwards.
You're not.
Yeah, Ravens are trending downwards. We're trending upwards.
You want to know what you guys do? Here's your trend. Up, down, up, down, up, down,
Who
up,
doesn't
down,
like
up,
roller
down,
coasters?
all the way to 8-8. Or
Who doesn't like
8-9.
roller coasters?
You know what? Maybe you'll get a tie in there just to be shitty. So you'll go 8-8-1.
There's the hating. I told you he's hating.
That's what's going to happen. You're going to tie the Browns.
Oh, okay. Who else do we lose to?
Baltimore again, Buffalo, Kansas City.
No.
For sure.
We beat Kansas City.
You're not going to beat Kansas City.
We beat Kansas
You're
City.
not going to beat Kansas City.
Yeah, bro, the Raiders...
Are they going to get hurt?
The Raiders almost beat Kansas City, and you're really going to fucking sit here and tell me that we don't put up fucking 28 points?
Yes.
Our defense can fucking stop them.
You won't.
I guarantee it.
You won't.
Chidobe Azue.
That's not even his name.
Awuzie.
Awuzie.
Awuzie. Fuck it, whatever. Pronunciation's hard as shit.
It's not. He went to Boulder, too. But,
Colorado native.
yeah. I mean, but
I'm from
I mean,
California,
listen,
so
you
I can't say
guys
that.
won the game. That's great. You're back. It's 3-3, right? Yeah, okay. This is sort of where we're gonna hover. Proud of you. Happy for you, big guy. I actually picked you guys to win this week, though.
I cannot wait to get to the Falcons game.
Yeah, I picked you guys this week, but it was just barely.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Oh, barely. You went out of your way specifically to circle the Bengals and say barely.
No, there's legitimately there's just a circle around. I don't have to hate. They're not playing great.
Hater.
There's a lot to not like there.
Alright, my turn.
You got wide receivers, and that's it.
My turn. We have a great defense.
You do not have a great
We have
defense.
fantastic defense. It's only going to get better.
It's not.
Only team in the league to prevent a second half touchdown. Against Tyreek Hill, Lamar.
Okay, no, go for it. I'm just saying, in terms of like the grand scheme of like everything in the AFC, it's not close.
Hater.
You're not. It's not even hating.
Hater. Alright, my turn. Who day over who dat any day of the fucking week. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase in the Superdome like you haven't already fucking seen it happen before. Go mode activated. Watching Joe Burrow.
Do not say
shut up,
goat
it's my
mode.
turn. Shut up, it's my turn.
Goat
fucking
mode.
Joe Burrow rolls up wearing Jamar Chase's national championship uniform. That shit got my dick hard. Oh my god. I don't give two fucks how close this game was because we started off a little bit slow. We tend to do that, but we come back hard every single time. And yes, you can say that we lost to the Ravens. That's absolutely true. The facts say it.
It is.
But I say differently. I say we beat ourselves. Zach Taylor refuses to win games sometimes. And I love you for it because, man, it makes me feel something. And that is something I haven't felt watching football and being a fan in 6 fucking years. So you know what? I'll take the roller coaster because at least it's thrilling. But also, we are getting it the fuck together, baby. Joe Mixon running the ball all over the fucking place. I mean, look at the stats from the past fucking 3 weeks versus these 3 weeks. Completely different ball game. Joe Mixon getting the team together. O-line blocking better. I mean, Joe Burrow is not taking as many sacks as he did earlier in the season. And granted, I do still think he needs to work on his release and get the ball out a little bit faster. But if you got options and you got time to really survey the field, I mean, look at some of the plays Joe Burrow made when he was being rushed. I mean, there is that runaround play where he was able to find Tyler Boyd and get that first down. There are so many great plays that just... This win absolutely exemplifies what this Bengals team is. It is a hard-nosed football team. They are not out when they're down. We play better when we're being hated on. So go ahead and fucking hate on us. Go ahead and stop. Everybody stop
I'm picking
dick
you to
sucking.
win the next 3 weeks. The second one's a little iffy, but I'll give you Falcons and Panthers. The Browns, the type of thing that they would show up just for one game. I'm going to be shitty and say the Steelers sweep you.
Hater. Bro, I'm telling you, he's a hater.
You got Titans, that's a maybe. Chiefs will beat the shit out of you.
We're going to smoke the Chiefs because we're going to be on a
You're
run.
not going to smoke anything.
Yeah, Joe Burrow is Mahomes' daddy.
Bengals will beat the piss out of you. I mean,
The Bengals will beat the piss out of you. That's exactly right. Because we don't give up a touchdown in the second half. We adjust, we adapt, we overcome, we react. That's not the way it goes. But yes, Absolutely.
The Bills are gonna fucking smoke you.
That's possible. That's absolutely possible.
You're like, okay, that one I'll concede.
I am praying to God they're resting their starters and we get another win. I could not be happier with this win. I don't care that it was fucking close against the fucking Bengal or the fucking Saints second string and third stringers because in New Orleans, that team always shows up to play.
You want to know what my favorite play of the game was?
Sure.
When Demario Davis just fucking smoked Joe Burrow.
Flag.
We can talk about this. There was a lot of bullshit flags. I'm about done with all these flags on people getting tackled. It's like he's allowed to fucking hit him, okay?
I think it's a little bit of an overreaction from the whole Tua thing.
Yeah, we'll stop.
Yeah, I think it's time to
These
relax.
guys get perfectly well compensated to get hit, okay?
Yeah. I think, couple of roughing the passer calls that have been just absolutely boneheaded.
A lot.
I don't care though. Bengals win. Who day over who dat all day, every day. We're gonna win this fucking division because guess what? We show up to games and we play in games for the whole fucking game. Ravens couldn't do that. Ravens can't fucking stick with us.
Did it against you.
Nah, they didn't. We beat ourselves.
You did not.
That was the one game we did not show. Oh, really? Because I genuinely think it could have been 24 to fucking 17 at one point or 16 at one point. Literally, we were in the red zone and we did a fucking dumbass Philly special in which Tyler Boyd took a sack on. Which, dude, throw the fucking ball. And then we did a shovel pass when we could have gone up a touchdown and not even Justin Tucker would not have been relevant. So I don't want to hear it. Absolutely,
and yet you will.
I'm not going to listen. It's going to go in one ear out the other, so I'm not going to hear it, actually. Absolutely, who day? We're the fucking best team in the AFC, in my opinion, and I don't care.
Really?
I don't give two shits what you have to say, because you fucking lost to the Falcons, so I don't want to fucking hear shit.
Really? Are we going to... Do I have to go through the list of people that did not play that game?
It's going to go in one ear and right out the other, so
okay,
sure,
fine.
if you want to.
Okay, I'll just put the numbers. It was 9 of 11 starters on defense and 6 of 11 starters on offense.
Sounds like a bunch of excuses, if you ask me. Bengals couldn't do that.
Bengals couldn't do what?
Make excuses.
Yeah, there's no excuses to make.
Nope, we come back to the locker room, we lose games that we shouldn't fucking lose, and we adjust and we get better. Don't overreact, Bengals Nation.
Yeah, don't overreact to a win. I agree.
Don't overreact to a loss because of bad play calling. Because guess what?
Because it's going to continue.
We're the team to fucking beat, baby.
In what regard exactly?
Heart. Nobody plays better than us when it comes to heart.
Really?
We're a unit. We're a team. We're a pack. Ravens wouldn't know anything about that. Fucking Ravens flock my asshole. What happened?
You can say that all you want, dude. Listen, you guys, you might make the playoffs as a wild card, but
we're winning the division. Put money on it. We have a great schedule lined up. The Ravens can't seem to win games that they absolutely should, which is shit that you were giving us issues with at the beginning of the season.
I still give you shit with it. You still do it.
We are absolutely We are the two of the same teams. But the Ravens are trending downwards, and the fucking Bengals are trending
literally
upwards.
That flips every single week. By the end, it's going to be hilarious. The Falcons are going to beat them, and then he's going to be like, okay, don't panic.
We beat ourselves.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's not going to happen again because we're the fucking man. We got Joe Burrow. I think everybody was overreacting to Joe Burrow not being the guy at the beginning of the season. Dude didn't have a single training camp, especially with an O-line that wasn't in that training camp either, and he's recovering from an appendectomy.
I will agree.
He looks like Joe Burrow.
I'll say this. He is the 4th best quarterback in the AFC. Maybe 5th, depending on the week. But he's tough. But Josh Allen and Mahomes are far above. And then him and Herbert are in the same tier. And Lamar would be the one that him and Burrow flip depending on the week.
Nah, I would say Burrow over Herbert. No disrespect to Herbert.
I ain't taking him over Herbert.
I'm taking Burrow over Herbert all day. Herbert's even taking Burrow over Herbert, bro. Did you see the fucking quote? He said Burrow's one of the guys that he looks up to in the league because he always keeps his team in the game no matter what's going on. That's what Herbert does. Herbert looks up to Joe Burrow in the way that he plays and on the power rankings. Jot it down. Lamar, mid. Like 16th best quarterback, maybe.
You want to talk? I'm so happy you mentioned that number because I was looking at like the quarterback grades and stuff like that. Joe Burrow's dead 16.
Yeah, it's because they all hate on him, bro. He's been 10 touchdowns and 1 pick in 4 fucking weeks.
Are you gonna dispute that Mahomes and Allen are playing better?
No, they're both playing better.
Okay, good.
Allen is a stud. Allen's winning MVP in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah. I just needed to clarify. I need to gauge it with like some questions. Sometimes I'm like, how far gone is he? Like,
how much Kool-Aid has he been drinking?
How far down the rabbit hole do I have to go to like drag him back out? We're not too far gone.
Joe Burrow is the third best quarterback in the AFC. Jot it down.
I am willing to give you that. Again, this is as close to objective as I'm getting with you.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. I mean, that's fine. Okay, so I'm going to move on from this game, though, because we spent enough time on it. I'm not going to spend a ton of time talking about this next one either.
Yeah.
But Tampa at Pittsburgh, Bucks 18, Pittsburgh 20. I'm not going to say a ton about this other than Tampa, it is like they are in a dire spot. Tampa is not playing well at all. They might win the South still just on default because Atlanta's feisty, but I don't think Atlanta can like sustain it. And Tampa will just sort of like drop into a bunch of wins. But that was a huge problem, especially relative to what we saw a true contender can do to the Steelers with what the Bills did literally the week before. So, yeah, not good with the Bucks. They still can't they move the ball just fine, but then they can't score it they can't score touchdowns. And defensively, they're just really inconsistent. They're way too hot and cold on defense, and they're way too inefficient on offense. And their O-line injuries are starting to show.
Yeah.
So Tampa needs to get their stuff together. And then strategically, the Steelers were down to an all-backup secondary, and they still barely threw the ball and tested them.
Yeah.
So this game was like alarm bells for me for the Buccaneers.
Yeah, I'm with you. I genuinely, there were multiple times where I was watching Red Zone or I was watching I was more focused on the Bengals game, and I would keep crazy, right? And then I would keep coming back to I'd take a minute away from the Bengals game, when we were on defense or something. I didn't want to watch Andy Dalton, which, granted, thank you for all you did. No disrespect. But genuinely, I always thought they'd be fine. I was like, they're going to be fine. It's a slow start. Maybe Pittsburgh's just popping them in the mouth a little bit. I imagine Tom Brady's going to get this shit together. And then I finally see the final score, and I just straight up was like, they didn't get it together. And that's kind of what I feel like the Buccaneers have really been all season this year is just they either get it together barely or they don't. And they've been not getting it together a lot more than they should have.
Yep.
So I don't think much needs to be said because I think everyone's kind of on the same page of Steelers are a feisty team with Tomlin always.
Yep.
So you're always, you can't underestimate them based on their roster. That's a good coach. He will coach his team to the best of his ability to bring out a W.
Yeah, he will.
Against a better team. Nothing but respect. Buccaneers should have had this win, and this is absolutely one of those moments where it's like, shit looks bad.
Yep.
Something is wrong, dude. And it's, I think you put it well, the defense playing hot and cold, and the offensive line injuries are absolutely showing, and that's
also doesn't help that they're dead last in rushing.
Yeah, which, a hurt O-line will contribute to that, but also, I don't think anything's necessarily wrong with Leonard Fournette. I don't think he's terrible, but their running backs aren't anything to write home
They got to
about.
be better than 32nd with a 45-year-old quarterback.
Exactly.
He might have enough in him to make a run or something like that, but you're really pushing it if you're going to have to throw it 40 times a game every week.
I'd expect them to be massive buyers at the trade deadline for sure.
Yep. I don't know who they're going to buy, but
I think maybe a little bit of they'll go big on O-line help.
What good O-lineman's going to be traded though?
With the trajectory of where teams are going, I think especially potentially Broncos could sell Garrett Bowles.
He's not playing again this year.
Oh, that's right. I forgot that it's out for the year. Fuck. I thought he was only hurt for a little bit.
No, completely snapped his leg.
Yeah, he's out. That sucks because I do like him. I don't know. There's a couple of key players from teams that are just falling the fuck apart right now. That maybe you could pull some strings on and get some trades on. I I don't really know exactly. Give me a week to figure it out. Yeah. But at the same time,
that's like that's a position that people don't trade. Not
True.
in the middle of the year.
But I think you could find some guys who are aging on bad teams who you could maybe buy and get away with. You're not going to get a franchise left tackle at a trade deadline unless I guess maybe you're.
No, O-line's a tough one to fix in the middle of the year.
Yeah, that one's definitely tough for sure. But it's possible.
Yeah, but we're not going to talk a ton more about this game because there's not a ton that needs to be said. Tampa needs to wake up fast, and Pittsburgh is just feisty. So
yeah, that's fair.
They're feisty until they play like the elite contenders. So next up, I'm just going to knock off San Fran at Atlanta. San Fran 14, Atlanta 28. I mean, when legitimately like 80 to 85% of your starting roster is out, it's just like fine. I'm not happy about it. I'm fine that the defense gave up more points because legitimately Nick Bosa, Eric Armstead, Javon Kinlaw, Emmanuel Mosley, Trevarius Ward, Talanoa Hufanga, Jimmy Ward, all out. And or concussed during the game and stuff like that. It's like, okay. So I'm fine with the defense giving up more points this week. It's going to happen when that happens. I don't love that the offense didn't score more. I'm more curious about, it's bad luck when your team gets injured once. It's fluky when it happens twice, but it's happened to this team 3 times where they're just, decimated by injuries. I need to know what is going on with that, strength and training staff or something like that. There has to be something going on that this keeps happening, and either it's that or they keep taking chances on guys with injuries and stuff a lot of people said San Fran should look at Christian McCaffrey. Do not look at Christian McCaffrey. I will lose my shit if we take half a look at Christian McCaffrey. What? This is a team that already has this issue. It's we're already missing our left tackle. Our starting quarterback for the year is gone. Jimmy Garoppolo is probably going to miss a game at some point this year.
Winnie Hutt Jr. is what I would call his team.
Yeah, it's just Deebo Samuel misses a game or two every year, so does George Kittle. Ayuk left this game early. McGlinchey, our right tackle, left the game. It's dude, this thing is being held together by really nothing at this point. We have all the injuries to all of our best guys, and they all converged on 1 week. Now, theoretically, a bunch of them are coming back next week, which fucking better because I still am not picking them even if they're completely healthy next week. They got Kansas City. So, if they are not healthy, it's no chance. If that defense can at least be mostly healthy, we can make it scrappy. But I mean, I again, not a ton to take away from Atlanta. They're a scrappy team, they're a feisty team that's punching above their weight. Great, awesome. I'm more concerned with the fact that this keeps happening every year with the 49ers. I'm not going to say much about wins and losses or anything like that because, like I said, when you are missing almost the entirety of your starting defense, which is the strength of your team, it's not going to go great.
Sure.
So, yeah, I'm just looking at, okay, what is going on within that building that is causing people to get hurt every single year? Because it's every year. It is not, like I said, 1 year where you're decimated, bad luck. It can just happen. 2 years, not concerning, but sometimes it's just freak injuries like Nick Bosa tears his ACL or something like that. Shit just happens. But this year, it's all of our best players, with the exception of Fred Warner, are hurt again. And Fred Warner is the only one of them that doesn't get hurt. So, but other than that, it's okay, that's hugely problematic. So that's my biggest takeaway from this game. This team needs to get healthy, quick, fast, and in a hurry because when they are the best team in the NFC West and when they're completely decimated, they're not going to do much, especially against a team like Kansas City coming up. So that's all I have to say about that game. You can't win when you're missing your entire fucking defense.
I will give a little credit to the Falcons, not for this game.
You can give credit to the Falcons. I'm just saying.
No, not for this game. They look a lot better than we were all giving them credit for at the beginning of the season. Granted, I don't think they're a 500 team. I think they fall off a little bit for sure. But this is a team that genuinely has somewhat direction on a team I can't name the head coach of.
Arthur Smith.
Is it really Arthur Smith?
Yes.
Yeah, I did not even know that. I thought Arthur Smith was the owner for a second.
That's Arthur Blank.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, so genuinely... The Falcons are a lot scrappier than I think I ever expected from them. This is the team that I picked for the number 1 pick.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people did.
I need to take that back. Number 2 pick. I have the Bears still being the number 1 pick. And I stand by that.
I think Carolina's going to get it because I think they want it.
I think, Carolina absolutely wants it. They're bringing in Bryce Young.
Yeah, I think they want that pick.
Either
now.
Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud, honest to God. I don't really believe in either just because Alabama quarterbacks and Ohio State quarterbacks are really...
so tough to judge.
They're tough to judge because they're just surrounded by incredible talent, and they're...
I mean, of the best quarterbacks in the league right now, Allen, Wyoming,
Yeah.
Mahomes, Texas Tech, Herbert, Oregon, Burrow, LSU. That's probably a closest thing you got
closest
to.
thing in SEC, but LSU has never
and
had
then
the talent.
it's like
Bama
Rodgers,
has had.
Cal, Brady, Michigan. It's like it seems like a lot of the guys that are really the best ones.
They're the ones who have proved it with no weapons.
Yeah, they don't bounce out of Alabama because it's like, yeah, okay, listen, you completed the pass, but the dude's open by 20 yards.
Yeah, dude's open by, I would hope you can fucking complete that pass because otherwise you're not playing for Bama.
I mean, I still don't blame teams for taking those guys because there's a reason that they went there and they're easy to evaluate, yada yada.
Of course, and you're always going to want to pull the trigger on a guy who's won Heisman and stuff like that. So I definitely think that Bryce Young probably ends up being the first overall pick and ends up going to Carolina. Carolina's obviously in rebuild mode right now. Fire sales going on. I mean, we've already seen. Didn't they trade? They traded Robbie Anderson, which crazy that Robbie Anderson was the first piece to go. But
It's not crazy based on what happened.
Well, it's true, but at the same time, like with all the names on their roster, not who I would have bet money on to be the first one gone. Granted, Who would you bet? Genuinely, Christian McCaffrey, just because.
Have you heard their asking price?
True, but like
no, I'm not saying like in terms of like why he should. I think you're right. He should be.
Yeah.
But I'm saying Carolina needs to bring that price way down. You're not getting 2 first-round picks.
No, not for a running back who is on a massive contract. Like, bro, 2nd-round pick, take it and fucking run.
Yeah.
And if you can get a first-round pick for him, then fantastic.
Great.
But two, you're not gonna get. I honest to God, if I'm Buffalo, I'll give him a first-round pick. Fuck it.
If I'm Buffalo and I'm willing to send off a first-round pick, I'm not doing it for Christian McCaffrey. Because he'll just get hurt.
Well, I see that's the thing is that you got Devin Singletary. You can give Christian McCaffrey more of the passing down stuff, and you can run it with you can take the snap count down, which is why Christian McCaffrey's always getting hurt. Is because he's running they're trying to run him 450 times a year. I
just think if Buffalo's going to spend a first-round pick, if that's a team that could like
that's what I'm saying is that their pick is going to be 31st, 32nd, maybe 28th.
It'll be in the bottom 4 at least.
Exactly. So I think if you're going to give up a first round pick, fucking do it. Yeah. And get an electric playmaker.
Send him to the Titans for Derrick Henry. That would be cheating.
That'd be unfair. But that is definitely who I would actually put money that DJ Moore would be the first one gone too. Especially if we're talking wide receivers strictly.
Baltimore.
I would hate that.
Actually,
you know what? No, I'd love it because it would just, he would not get any fucking catches.
I'm telling you right now, the team that needs to be on the phone every day with them for DJ Moore is the Packers.
That's what I've been saying, dude, is that they need to be calling right now. They need to make that trade while I'm dead asleep tonight fucking finishing my fucking dreams. Because 110%, they need DJ Moore right now. I would, honest to God, if I'm Buffalo, I'm sending a second-round pick for DJ Moore. Yeah. And giving yourself DJ Moore, Stephon Diggs, and Gabe Davis. I'm not saying Gabe Davis.
That's so nasty.
That
they already don't need. They
technically don't need it.
Well, here's what I'd be wondering because Odell keeps flirting with the Bills. He keeps talking about the Bills. He's not
back for like 6 more weeks though, isn't it? Something like that.
It'll be like November.
Yeah. See, I honestly, if DJ Moore is available right now, I just say close the door on Odell and go bring in fucking DJ Moore, and you know what you have in DJ Moore, and you have him immediately.
No, I get it. I don't feel like Buffalo's going to change much of what they have. I don't think that they want to mess with it. Maybe they do, but I don't think it would be a big piece like DJ Moore.
That's more of a dream pick. I see it more of him going to the Packers.
It's probably going to be like Kansas City just to shit on all of us.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's what I'm hearing Christian McCaffrey to is Kansas City.
Do it.
And I'm like, bro, please, first of all, no, I don't want to see him in that uniform because it's
an ugly uniform.
It's an ugly fucking uniform. Thank you. genuinely, like, I hate seeing big name players go to Kansas City because I hate that fucking uniform. It looks awful.
No one's ever looked good in it. Damn it.
No, not at all. I don't even think. And when I see people walk around in a Mahomes 15 jersey with the ketchup and mustard, I'm like, guys, wear the away jersey, please. Like, you're allowed to wear white if you want to. Like
I don't like the white jerseys.
I think it's better than the ketchup and mustard.
That's fair. But okay, let's get back to Atlanta real quick for you.
Yeah. Again, there's not much that needs to be said here. I'm not going out of my way to say, wow, surprise NFC wildcard contender. I don't think that's the case at all. But I will say, for the lack of talent on this entire team, and they ended up trading away someone recently, so they kind of know they're not going anywhere. They are at least playing as a team and fighting, and I don't think this is a Lions situation where, they're going to keep Arthur Smith or anything like that. I think if a good coach comes their way, they're going to go for it.
He's coached them well, though. You just don't know who he is.
Yes, he's coached them. He's coached them well, and the team's playing for him. And they're a scrappy underdog who can sometimes get away with a win, and honestly has been close in a lot of games that I have not betted them to be close in. So.
I think Atlanta's 6-0 against the spread, is what I heard.
The people's champ, baby.
Yeah.
Let's go.
So, like, as somebody who's betting, there's a little tidbit for you.
Let's go.
Atlanta's always close.
Never pick the Atlanta money line. Always pick the Atlanta spread is basically what we're saying.
Yeah, pretty much.
If I'd done that in Vegas, I would be a millionaire right now. But yeah, I know, absolutely interesting to see. They're kind of a team that, like, when I see I raise my eyebrow a little bit, and I kind of, all right, let's see what it is. I'm not going to sit down and watch a game, but I'm going to watch the highlights. That's basically what I'm saying. Yeah. So I'm excited for the Bengals to absolutely fuck them next week.
Yep, there you go.
That's all I got.
They're going to be so pissed if they do it.
Nah, Marcus Mariota sucks.
Now that you've said it, you know that you've just done this.
Marcus Mariota.
That's what you said about the Padres.
I said they blew.
All right. On to the New York Jets at the Packers. Jets 27, Packers 10. This is another one where I'm trying to be a little bit reserved on the Jets, but they're showing a lot of signs of a team that's competent. I think they honestly might be better than the Giants, just like overall. Specifically defensively, they're definitely better than the Giants.
Yeah, I believe in Zach more than I believe in Danny.
I mean, honestly, Zach's the biggest question mark on that thing right now, where it's like their receivers. You can name a couple of their receivers. Breece Hall's playing really, really well. Their O-line's injured, but it's not being like absolutely destroyed, and their defense is like stepped up several times, particularly with like Sauce Gardner and guys like that. Carl Lawson's played pretty well this week. Bakhtiari got the better of him, but Bakhtiari's done that to a lot of people. So, but yeah, the Jets defense played well. Saleh can coach defense like really well.
Yeah. And
the Jets offense is playing well enough. Zach Wilson is the one thing that's a little hot and cold, but listen, if you're winning, you can do it. So, I think the Jets, I don't know that they make the playoffs or anything like that, but I think this is like the type of progress you're looking for. And this is also just more confirmation for me. I've said this since the start, like the offseason. Packers are not it this year.
Yeah.
The Packers are going to take a big step back. It's showing. And I think with this week, the Vikings pretty much sewed up that division. So, got that pick right.
Yeah, I think, same. Genuinely, Jets have been surprising, which is fantastic to see because I'm obviously a Zach Wilson fan. Need to see a little bit more from Zach Wilson. Not going to be
he's no Joe Burrow.
He's no Joe Burrow, but he fucks moms, so that's pretty sick. I will say that if he's able to play more consistently and use his talents well and really start reading defenses a lot better and making the right calls, and they're able to scheme their guys open a little bit more, this team is genuinely interesting, especially next year. I mean, you got a rookie wide receiver in Garrett Wilson who is going to only learn and get better. I think Elijah Moore is still kind of a guy. Nothing special by any means, but I think it was a good pick a couple years ago, and he looks to be a favorite of Zach Wilson's. Breece Hall looks fantastic, as advertised. I had a feeling that he would end up taking the backfield, the number one backfield spot pretty early into the season, and that's exactly what happened.
Yep.
And again, The defense is looking great for the Jets. So genuinely, I mean, I don't want to drink the Kool-Aid just yet because it is a little bit early, and I don't believe in the Packers.
I'm willing to do it the same level I am to the Giants, which is
Yeah.
I think both of these teams are competent.
Yeah, I will absolutely own up to that and agree that I wouldn't count them an easy win for a team anymore.
No, and I think they play someone this week where it's like, who the hell do they play? I think they play the Broncos.
No way.
New York Jets, yeah, they're at Denver. So
Zach Wilson's gonna fuck Denver's mom, dude.
who is Denver's mom?
Elway's wife,
But
third wife.
But I'm glad you actually brought up Garrett Wilson because that's one of the things I want to highlight here is his production has fallen way off since Zach Wilson got back in the starting lineup. I think that if Zach Wilson can sort of get on the same page with Garrett Wilson, then a lot of his like inconsistency can get fixed.
Yeah.
Because Garrett Wilson showed with Joe Flacco that he can play.
He's a guy.
So I think Zach Wilson really needs to hone in on getting on the same page with him because that's the sort of like missing element to this offense is like a dangerous passing connection, and Garrett Wilson has shown he can be it.
Yeah.
They just have to figure each other out. So
Yeah.
I'd put some extra work in with that duo, and I think then the Jets can really be cooking.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm like we said, the Packers. I'll just give a quick take on the Packers real quick. They obviously don't have the receivers. They have some good running backs, but you need more than that to win. But in terms of what I'm really looking at is that defense was supposed to be really, really good, and they are also really, really streaky. They like sometimes show up for like a quarter or a half and lock someone down, but then the other half they just get torched. And I said this coming into the year also as I've never quite viewed Matt LaFleur as like this great coach, despite what his record would say, which is like 13-3 or 13 wins every single year. But it's like, okay, you were playing in a division where you were handed 6 wins no matter what with the Bears, Lions, and Vikings, and you walked into Aaron Rodgers and Devonte Adams and Aaron Jones and all these guys. So this is the first year where we were really going to like see him tested. And so far, it's not going great.
Yeah.
Some of that could be guys are making mistakes, sure. But some of that is also him needing to understand the strengths of this team, and he's not playing to them. So that is my quick take on the Packers. The Packers are pretty much dead in the water if they can't throw the ball. And a lot of people are like, oh, Rodgers is washed. I think this has very little to do with Aaron Rodgers. This has a lot to do with the fact that these receivers are not running the right routes. They're not on the same page with him. It's like he could close his eyes and throw a back shoulder ball to Devonte Adams, and he could stare down this receiver, yell at them that it's going to happen, and they'll still try to catch it over their shoulder. Yep. So,
no, it is. I agree. I think the Aaron Rodgers wash talk is a little bit misplaced. I think it's an easy excuse to make because of what happened this past offseason and how vocal he's been and. I've been doing drugs and
ayahuasca, baby.
Yeah, and I've been fucking chilling and I'm fucking the man and like I'm gonna get $200 million and like a bunch of shit like that is definitely what's gonna rise to the surface when this team isn't playing well. Yeah. So obviously, the media is gonna go after the face of the franchise. Yep. I really don't think it's on him. Allen Lazard is not a wide receiver 1 in this league. No. And Christian Watson,
he's been hurt.
George Pickens is right fucking there for the taking.
Yeah, Christian Watson's been hurt. Romeo Dobbs is the one that's sort of stepping up, but again, he's young. This is the type of thing where I think we might look back like 3 years from now and be like, the Packers managed to turn these guys into something. Yeah. But they were sort of in a window where it's sort of right now.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. No, they're in a right now window, which is, it amplifies everything, magnifies the issues. Devonte Adams took 2-ish years to become Devonte Adams. Mm-hmm. So granted, it's not the end of the world for these guys, but Allen Lazard's a great slot guy. I would put him in a slot. I wouldn't even have him as a wide receiver fucking 2. That's nothing against him. I don't buy it. I genuinely think he's getting a lot of these catches and plays just because Aaron Rodgers trusts him and has to throw it to somebody.
He's the only one who knows the offense.
Exactly. I think.
And Randall Cobb got hurt in this game too.
Yeah, so. Which is another security blanket he loves to have. So, If I'm Green Bay, I'm on the phone calling for DJ Moore, but they're not doing that because that's not Green Bay style.
I think they might. I think even they would realize this is a problem.
Well, I would hope so, and I am hoping that he does end up over in Green Bay because I think that's just the right move.
I don't, just because I sort of enjoy this.
It is kind of interesting to see. It is, but yeah, I think I've been kind of skeptical about the Packers all year, and here's just one more example of why I am. They're just not the team they used to be, and you can't advertise yourself as a team you used to be when you aren't. And that's very much what this team is coming off as.
Yep. I mean, if you really think about how Devonte Adams became Devonte Adams, it was a similar situation where Jordy Nelson got hurt, Randall Cobb was gone, and all the people that he knew weren't there. And it took a bit of an adjustment, and eventually Devonte Adams grew into Devonte Adams.
Yeah.
But that was also sort of a time when the Packers weren't competing. That was near the end of the Mike McCarthy era.
Yeah.
And this is the end of their Super Bowl window, and they really need these guys now. So, not really going to happen. And the way that they're trending, Minnesota is going to take that division. And maybe Green Bay. If Green Bay can rally at all, they might get a wild card spot because the NFC is just sort of open like that.
Yeah.
But they don't look it right now.
No.
So I think we're going to move on.
Yeah.
These next two games, I don't have a ton to talk about, really.
Sure.
Which is Carolina at the Rams. Carolina 10, Rams 24. This game was way too close for way too long, sort of like I said with that Bengals game. I think the Panthers might have actually had a lead going into the half. Robbie Anderson obviously melts down, gets traded. But the Rams get a win, so good for them. They go back to 500, but it's another win where you're like, it's just not great.
Yeah, I mean, winning by 2 touchdowns against the Panthers is good. I mean, that's what you're supposed to do. Yeah, no, Stafford has not looked like Stafford this year, whether it's injury.
Well, it looks like Detroit Stafford.
Oh, true. Whether he's playing too much hero ball and because the offensive line is not working like it's supposed to, whether it's injuries or missing Whitworth, key players on their offensive line, it's definitely getting to Stafford. Stafford's not the level-headed guy who can sit in a crumbling pocket and still make it happen. He's the holy shit, I'm getting sacked, better throw the fucking ball, and it's a pick.
And it's always to Cooper Kupp.
Or it's straight to Cooper Kupp. And again, Allen Robinson is a fine wide receiver, not getting involved in the game plan. Don't know what that reason is. If it's Stafford not throwing him the ball, if it's Sean McVay unable to get him incorporated in a major way, I genuinely think it's just the read right now is Cooper Kupp or bust. And that's a fantastic Madden strategy when you're up 70 points and you're just trying to pad stats and try to make Kupp have fucking 20 touchdowns in a season or something like that, which is very easy to do because it's Madden.
You can give him 20 touchdowns in a game.
You really can. It's not a viable strategy in the NFL. So yeah. I think...
Speaking of wide receiver additions, like this just came to my mind because we were talking about it earlier. The Ravens signed Desean Jackson.
Recently?
Yeah, like today.
Oh, wow.
I don't think it's like... I think part of it has nothing to do with like they're going to throw him the ball a ton. I think a lot of it is like teams are going to have to clear out to cover him.
Yeah, he's got speed.
And that'll help them run.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, it keeps defenses more honest.
Yeah.
I don't think Lamar's got the arm to even get it down to him if he was to be streaking downfield.
I think he's got the arm to get it there. I just don't know how often they'll take the shot. I think a lot of this has to do with strategy of they're going to have to make sure someone stays over him.
Yeah, which takes away from run defense.
Yep, and I think that's something that can help them. Because the Ravens, and I think this applies to the Rams as well, the Rams don't really have anybody that stretches the defense, and the Ravens didn't. And that's part of the reason the Rams' running game is abysmal. Like, nobody has to worry about backing up. Cooper Kupp is a lot of things, but he's not like this threat, blazing speed guy.
Yeah.
He wins on, like, technical route running, really reliable hands, and just, like, having a feel for what Stafford's looking for and what McVay's trying to do and stuff like that. But he's not this blazing guy. They could use something like that where it's like, okay, no matter what, just the fact that he's out there means you have to back up a bit.
Yeah.
And instead of like safety standing like 10 yards back, they got to stand like 15
to 20.
Yeah. And so it gives you that little bit of breathing room. So that came to my mind because we were talking about wide receivers that people could look for, and I just realized, oh, Baltimore signed one today. And I like it not just in terms of like, I'm sure Desean Jackson will get 1 or 2 bombs during the year that are like big, but the mere presence of him means people have to take a couple steps back. And with a team like Baltimore, that could be really deadly. I don't even know that it would be deadly with the Rams because the Rams seem to, they tend to want to live and die with the passing game. And I think that's pretty dumb. I mean, for just a moment, what would we think of Matt Stafford if he had not won the Super Bowl last year? Because he didn't play particularly great last year either. Everyone's saying, and I mean, so ultimately, this whole thing worked out for the Rams. They won the Super Bowl. Great. But realistically, how well has he actually played?
Not lights out. I mean, it's just what he does. He gets his stats. And I think that's kind of what we would still be thinking of him as quality quarterback. He's going to get his stats. He's going to ball. You're never going to get the ring. And so the fact that he gets the ring kind of, I think, takes a lot of the heat off of him that he should be facing right now. It's because he's like, all right, well, Stafford got the ring last year. He proved it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think that's more a fair question to ask of. If they didn't win it all last year, if they lost to Tampa, Tampa brings it back and Brady goes to the Super Bowl.
If they lost to any of them, if they lost to Tampa, San Fran, or Cincy, I think that we view him so differently.
Yeah.
I mean, because a lot of people this offseason were like, with Stafford's numbers, and now that he's won the Super Bowl, is he a Hall of Famer? He's never once played like a Hall of Famer. Mm-hmm. I think that we need to be way more strict about who we apply that label to.
I'm with you.
I think there's 5 quarterbacks of each era that might be able to, truly deserve it.
Yeah.
These guys, everybody puts up numbers nowadays. Numbers are no longer impressive. It's so easy to put up numbers.
Well, yeah, you play for 15 years in a passing league.
And they're just like, he's got this many passing yards. That's like these other Hall of Famers. How often were they throwing compared to him?
Yeah.
So I think that the numbers thing, we need to stop that. Where it's like, okay, they basically play a different sport at this point. But, I mean, I still think the Rams are trending down. Even though they beat the Panthers, it's like, yeah, okay, great. I don't even think Carolina wants to win.
Yeah, no, I think Carolina at halftime I think that's what it was.
Yeah, they're like, what the
Yeah, it's like, whoa, what the fuck? We should not be ahead. And Rob Aaron's like, I want to win. It's like, well, then get the fuck out. Like,
you want what?
Yeah, you want a what? Like, when we got the first overall pick right now? You're kidding me? Like,
excuse me, we have freaking Bryce Young coming here.
Yeah, regardless of if he's good or not, genuinely, at least, Heisman, Alabama, fucking national championship.
It at least puts butts in seats next year.
Yep, 100%. But yeah, I think I don't really have much to say about the Panthers. Interesting to see. Interesting to see where their fire sale goes. I think they really should move on from Brian Burns, but I think they want to keep him.
I think they're gonna sell less than people think.
They should sell more, is what I want.
Well, okay, so here's my one thought on this. We talked about DJ Moore. I don't think they want to trade DJ Moore, especially if they're gonna draft CJ Stroud or Bryce Young.
That's absolutely fair. The issue is they're not in a position to choose right now because DJ Moore probably wants to fuck out.
Well, the problem is they are because they have the rights to him. Well, they can position themselves to get whatever quarterback they want.
I'd much rather move on from a wide receiver now and just draft one the next year, or free agency, bring in a quality veteran who can be that guy,
like a Christian Kirk.
Absolutely.
For your young quarterback, Jacksonville.
There you go. No, but that's the thing is that especially with the wide receiver market being what it is, I mean, you could probably find an Amari Cooper level guy for cheap. You move on from DJ Moore and have draft capital and bring in a younger guy who you will have for 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, I think Carolina realistically has a couple of guys that they're not that keen to part ways with, and I think DJ Moore might be one of them. I think that Brian Burns might be one of them.
Yeah.
I think J.C. Horn's definitely one of them because he's playing really good at corner, just no one knows it because where he plays. Yeah. But I think Carolina, Jeremy Chin, they're not going to want to move on him either.
I think he's the guy you can't move on from.
I think you can, but he's also just a really solid safety, and the more good DBs you have, the faster you're able to get your defense rolling. I think that Carolina has a lot of problems, but I also think there's a couple pieces for the Panthers where you're like, if we don't have, unless someone blows us away with an offer, we're not going to trade them. I think McCaffrey is the only one where you're like, okay, we actively need to shop this.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I'd move on from a lot more pieces. Honest to God, if I'm them, I'd even move on from Brian Burns just because the return on investment's incredible. You can get a first rounder and second rounder for him. Yeah. Easy.
Get all 5 of the first 5 picks.
Yes. I would love that.
Yeah.
And just draft Alabama's team over again.
Exactly. So we're going to move on, though, from the Panthers and the Rams to the Cardinals and the Seahawks. Again, I don't have much to say about this.
Where do you have Vikings-Dolphins?
Huh?
Do you have Vikings-Dolphins on there?
Oh, yeah, I do.
Okay.
Do you want to talk about that one, or do you want to talk about Cardinals? Let's talk about Cardinals Seahawks real quick.
Sure.
Seattle wins 19-9. They finally found their defense against a team that has no weapons. However, that will change this week for the Cardinals. They got Robbie Anderson and DeAndre Hopkins. I don't think it makes a seismic difference.
How much help does that midget need?
I mean, it helps to have anybody playing wide receiver.
I feel like I've never seen a team bring in more wide receivers to a team than the Cardinals have done for Kyler.
I mean, who they really brought in? Nuke?
Well, they draft 2 wide receivers every year. You got Rondale Moore, Andy Isabel. You got obviously Nuke. Obviously Nuke's the exception because any team would want to bring.
They also
then you bring in Marquise Brown.
That's why I'm saying the Robbie Anderson thing needed to happen because Marquise Brown just got hurt.
Well, I know that.
So it's like they need these weapons and listen, bringing in DeAndre Hopkins, bringing him back in is no small thing. Robbie Anderson is not a great wide receiver, but he is certainly a competent wide receiver.
Deep threat.
Yeah. So it's like these are like improvements at that position. I don't think it makes a massive difference for the Cardinals because I think the rest of their team is still incredibly flawed. But those guys are worth 1 to 2 massive plays a game.
Sure.
So I think that in a game like this one, maybe that swings like the difference because the Seahawks have struggled on defense. If they could just have those types of weapons, they probably could move the ball better. But Seattle's feisty.
Clearly.
And yeah, I just don't have much to say. These are 2 teams that are not awesome, but Seattle won. I think I'm a little interested in Seattle, and I think they might be better than the Rams. But I'm not. I wouldn't say. I wouldn't say that with my chest until I see them play. But I think Seattle can especially because Seattle doesn't really play a super physical brand of football, which tends to be what the Rams can't handle. But yeah, I mean, Arizona loses at Seattle, fine, whatever. It's sort of a game that didn't really affect much.
You know what? It's a game the Cardinals needed to win if they wanted to be anywhere near competitive, and they didn't.
I've said Cliff Kingsbury's getting fired since before the season. I still think it.
I can't wait to see which offensive coordinator job he takes.
Patriots.
I mean, that could happen, to be honest. To be completely honest with you. But genuinely, yeah, the Cardinals are supposed to be a better team than the Seahawks, and I think, honest to God, even if you bring in Robbie Anderson or if you don't have Marquise Brown get hurt in this game, I think they still lose. Shout out the Seahawks for winning the Russell Wilson trade. They look great. They look better than we all thought they would.
Yeah.
And they have draft capital to get even better.
I mean, how pissed are you going to be if that's where Sean Payton goes, if he goes to Denver? That'll make you feel really not good.
I think Russell Wilson will still blow it.
Maybe, but you're gonna have a way harder time doing it if Sean Payton's your head coach.
I think it'll be apparent that he's seriously the problem. But I'll get to Russell and the Broncos when we get there. But yeah, shout out C-Town for winning the Russell Wilson trade. I think we genuinely need to apologize to Pete Carroll that Russell Wilson ruined his prime. And I think they deserve more Super Bowls with the loaded ass defense that they had.
They messed that up pretty damn quick. I'm not giving Pete Carroll any extra credit. He hasn't showed any capability of doing much beyond the Russell Wilson era. Granted, it's most of his career, but it's like Pete Carroll is not a coach where I'm like, shit, we're going against Pete Carroll.
This is a terrible roster that has won multiple games that I would not have guessed they would have won.
No, I've said they're punching above their weight, but it's just like
I will give respect to Pete Carroll for not being an 0-16 right now.
Listen, he's the 3rd best coach in his division.
We don't need to.
No, I know, but
we don't need to. He's 63. He plays an old style football. He's got Geno Smith as his fucking quarterback. They were supposed to be dead in the water before the people were talking. This is the worst quarterback room in the entire history of the league.
Just the worst backup.
Shut the fuck up. Genuinely, we went through the roster at the beginning of the season, and we didn't see anything we liked besides safeties and the fucking rookie left tackle they took.
We liked
and their wide receivers.
I was going to say, for a second.
I missed that one, but yes, their wide receivers are fucking loaded too. This is a team that we thought you would either see Tyler Lockett dealt or you see DK dealt. Both of these guys are staying in C-Town now because...
Dude, you know what? I wouldn't be overly shocked if a team came to the Seahawks if they'd be willing to deal Lockett.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't think they're getting rid of DK, but I think the right offer, you could probably get Lockett from them.
I think you get Lockett. I think you give up Lockett, especially because I don't think this team ends up going anywhere.
Yep.
I would definitely move on from Lockett, keep Metcalf because Metcalf's Metcalf. I think no matter who his quarterback is, he's still a great wide receiver in this league. You have so much draft capital from the Russ trade, I would get even more draft capital and just go fucking nuts.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
granted,
again, here's the thing. I am sort of enjoying the fact that they are winning a couple of games because each win they don't get C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young. And it's like, okay, great.
Well, that's the thing is the more games Broncos lose, maybe they do.
I don't think that the Broncos will lose enough to beat out the Panthers or the Texans for those spots.
Neither do I. But I'm more memeing. But right now, the pick that they got from Denver, that first round pick,
looking great.
7th overall.
Yeah, it's looking awesome.
A top 10 fucking pick.
Yeah.
Doesn't that make you feel so great?
All warm and fuzzy inside.
Awesome. Anyways, I'm done with this game.
Yeah, me too.
Kyler's overrated.
We'll hit Miami and Minnesota next. Minnesota 24, Miami 16. The Vikings beat the teams they should. It's tough to evaluate the Dolphins when they were down to their third quarterback. Their third quarterback got hurt. And it's just sort of like, okay. There's just nothing to evalluate. Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill still got theirs yards-wise. They just couldn't put up the points. Tua's supposed to be back this week, so I'll start really looking at the Dolphins again. But it's like, if none of the quarterbacks that they are like planning to have play these games play, it's sort of impossible to be like,
It's like, wow, really not living up to the hype this year, huh, Dolphins?
Yeah. It's like that's sort of like, I think it was Teddy Bridgewater that came back in, but they sort of like tentatively brought him back in from the concussion thing. Didn't practice at all this week. It's like, well, shit.
It's a tough situation for sure, especially when you're a loaded roster like Miami is with such high hopes, especially in the AFC East.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's not great to lose Tua, like you did with the first head injury. Then he plays against Cincinnati, gets even worse, has to go to the University of Cincinnati Hospital just to make sure that he's not brain fucking dead or paralyzed.
Yeah.
That's never a good look for a franchise, for organization, any of it, the league. So genuinely, you're already fucked there, and then when your backup quarterback, who genuinely, Teddy Bridgewater for a backup is not terrible.
He's a good backup.
He shouldn't be your starter, but absolutely as a backup quarterback, I'd keep him around for sure.
Yes.
Like when he ends up getting hurt, and then you got a rookie quarterback, I think.
He broke his hand.
Yeah, Skylar Thompson, and then he breaks his fucking hand. Like, man, bad fucking beats. As somebody who just came back from Vegas, bad beats will kill you, and there's nothing you can do about it other than throw your hands up in the air and say, I'll be back next year. So, genuinely, that's kind of what I'm getting from this.
Well, luckily, Miami's hot start has kept them from having to do that.
Yes.
So they're at 500, and now they're getting their starter back. So and I think the Steelers game's a winnable game for them.
Yeah.
So, like, this is not all is lost, but I just can't evaluate them off this.
Yeah, well, and I agree. I think it's just, like I said, bad beats. Hopefully, when Tua comes back, he looks like who he was before, because then genuinely I can talk shit about him again. But
without feeling bad.
Without feeling bad, of course. I can stop being this nice guy who's like, hopefully he gets back. No, genuinely.
Hopefully he gets back.
No, genuinely, we'll have to see how it all looks. But, the team's loaded, and they were in a game without a quarterback and against a team who is probably going to win their division. So I'll give them a little credit there. I think that's something you can keep an eye on. But other than that, there's really nothing more that needs to be said here other than Vikings won a game that they're supposed to. Kirk Cousins is wearing chains like he's
wearing that NFC North champ.
Yeah. Oh, man.
So they're going to win that division.
I think they win that division for sure. I'm not really convinced on the Vikings fully that they're going to make it deep in the playoffs. I know they're going to win the division for sure, but I have a couple of question marks when it comes to when they play a good team like Philadelphia is a great example.
It's the one team they played that
smacked them, and that's the one good team they've really played, in my opinion. So, with the exception of this Dolphins team who is playing with the hand tied behind their back, basically. So
Yeah.
I think it's a win that the Vikings needed to do to be convincing that this is their division, which they got. And I think now that Tua's coming back, we can start evaluating the Miami Dolphins and see where the rest of the season goes. It's a good thing that they hung in there as long as they did at the beginning of the season to kind of coast through this. And if Tua really is 100% back this week, and then, maybe we'll be seeing that same team that we just saw. So that's all I really got.
We're going to go out of order now because I really want to wrap up with Philly, Dallas, and Kansas City, Buffalo. So we're going to jump straight to Denver and LA.
Okay.
Just because it's just less interesting to talk about. Denver starts off really hot, shows signs of life, not quite enough to do anything, ultimately. But I want to talk a little bit more about the Chargers because we've harped on the Broncos a lot, and they're obviously, it's just not going to work out this year for them.
Don't worry, I'll harp on them.
Yeah. I want to talk about the Chargers, and just, I remain so done with them in terms of, they are 4-2. They could so easily be 2-4. It is sick. This team is so damn talented, and they're barely beating the Browns and the Broncos. And they shouldn't have beat either, probably. And this is why...
And losing to Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Which is their other loss. The Kansas City one is, say what you will, refs, injury.
There's no damn shame in that one,
No, not at all.
All these other ones, it's everything basically since the Kansas City game, it's what are we doing here, guys? The Chargers...
The entire team has a rib injury.
Yeah. But... It's I get it. Joey Bosa's out. Keenan Allen's still out. But this team is still one of the more talented rosters in the NFL. And the fact that they're so constantly just mediocre is really annoying.
Yeah.
Brandon Staley, I am just not sold on. No. And the Chargers are a team where if Sean Payton is an option, you jump on that so damn fast.
Yeah, that's your revenge for Breeze going to NOLA.
Yeah, exactly. You take a Charger quarterback.
You take the fucking head of the fucking NOLA franchise and bring him in your coach.
The difference with this compared to a lot of people Carolina's probably going to try to get him is the Saints still technically own his rights.
True.
So you would have to give the Saints something.
Yeah.
And I think they're much more willing to send him to the AFC West than the NFC, than keep him in the NFC South.
Yeah.
So
well said.
I think that this is a realistic possibility of Sean Payton could do this. I mean, I think if you really are looking at the places where he would go, you're probably looking at the AFC because I don't think the Saints are going to want to deal with them in the NFC
North.
Yeah. I think honestly, if I was to pick the spot, Chargers are the best.
I mean, you got a loaded team. You got a young quarterback who is incredibly talented and incredible. Excuse me. And
Sean Payton has also shown, in recent years, is he's figured out the type of defensive coaches he likes, and he's made some been the head coach of some really good defenses in New Orleans. They got a lot of defensive talent on the Chargers too.
Yeah.
I just think that this year it's not going to happen. I did a video that I went through who are contenders and pretenders. I said that the Chargers are the ultimate pretender team in that they're definitely going to get enough wins and a few of them will be impressive to make you think oh, maybe, and then they're just going to break your heart. I think if they get Sean Payton, that changes pretty quick.
Sure.
So that's my thing. I'm just sort of done on the Chargers right now. They would have to show something pretty intense against a really good team to switch it up.
I need to see them actually beat Kansas City next time they play. And then I would start being, okay, they're back. And this is the team that we're
talking about. Did they play the Bills this year, or was that just a first-place matchup? I think it might have been a first-place matchup.
I don't think no, because the AFC West played them last year. Played the AFCs last year.
Damn it. I keep wanting to see every contender team,
go against
play
the Bills.
Buffalo.
Yeah. If we could just get a gauge on every single contender team against Buffalo.
We're basically doing that with everyone but the Chargers.
Pretty much.
Because it's we've already got the Ravens, we've already got the Chiefs, we're going to get the Bengals. Chargers would be really great. We're obviously going to get the Dolphins when the Bills are healthy this time.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to get it except the Chargers.
So we will have to see for sure. But yeah, I'm with you. I think the Chargers are definitely pretender mode right now. Granted, I will give credit where credit's due. The Broncos defense is good.
The Broncos defense is great. If I'm a Broncos defender, I'm not looking at anybody that plays offense on that team. Don't talk to me for a week.
I'll give you Cortland Sutton, and that's it. And even then, he's not even playing that amazing. But also, I kind of have an issue with the quarterback. But really quickly, I'm going to rip into the Broncos because it's kind of a weekly segment. Imagine paying $254 million for 2-4 in your first 6 starts. Couldn't be me. Genuinely, I have come to a conclusion on who I think is to blame for this awful start. And I'm giving a little bit of a pass to Nathaniel Hackett. Genuinely, while I don't think he's a world-beater head coach or a offensive guru or crazy, has a crazy mind when it comes to seeing the field offensively, he's scheming guys open. There are guys who are getting open, and Russell Wilson is absolutely, completely fucking missing these guys, having his head down on one person. This does not look like Russell Wilson we've ever seen before. I am, honest to God, going to say you have a quarterback issue, Denver, which is the funniest thing about it because for 6 fucking years, all you've said is, if only we had a quarterback, if only we had a quarterback, if only we had a quarterback. Well, you go out of your way to bring in a fucking quarterback, and you picked one who I think is genuinely washed up and dumb, and you have now put yourself in a position where the next 5 years of your life are fucking awful. No team's going to want to sign here in free agencies. Players who are on their way out are going to find the door as quickly as fucking possible. What are you going to do? Are you going to sign Jerry Jeudy? Because I wouldn't. Honestly, with how he's been playing, I wouldn't fucking touch him. Let him go be somebody else's head case. And if he figures it out, tough. You fucked him up.
The ball.
No, I've been saying this since he got into the league. He cannot catch for shit. He gets wide fucking open, and then he drops a fucking ball. And after his first year with a couple of them, I gave him the pass. I genuinely, because I was still a Denver fan at the time, I straight up said, you know what? Rookie year for a wide receiver can be rough in the same way it can be rough for a tight end. Getting acclimated to the NFL, guys cover you a lot better, especially when you're an Alabama wide receiver. You're used to having wide open field to fucking fuck around with. This is not who Jerry Jeudy was coming into this fucking league. And I don't know if it's a yips thing. I don't know if he's genuinely bad. I could not tell you. This is awful. This is fucking terrible. Watch, KJ Hamler's a better wide receiver.
Jerry Jeudy doesn't attack the ball.
No.
Like, if you watch the way he catches, it's always like this.
Yeah.
So if a defender literally just does that, he's not going to reach his hands out to, like, go get it, or he's definitely not going to jump up to go get it.
And if he does, he drops it.
Yeah, it's like, unless it hits him literally right here, he's not going to catch it. Like, for some reason, he just doesn't attack the football.
And I think that's an issue that's going on with Denver. I think part of it is absolutely Russ is missing these wide open guys. Russ is used to having a great run game. This run game has been terrible. Granted, obviously, Devonte Williams out for the year. That sucks. He's a great running back. But they were not even using him properly when they had him. They had Melvin Gordon eating into his carries. And then now that you have Melvin Gordon as your number one running back, you're starting Latavius Murray.
I mean, I kind of get it.
Well, I get it too. But I would use Melvin Gordon more. He was not my number one running back. If you have Latavius Murray, I'd split the carries a little bit more because he is unreliable. Every Broncos fan and Chargers fan will fucking tell you that. But absolutely, the game planning on Hackett's side, while not perfect, there are some massive red flags. That's one example right there. But we're getting guys who are wide the fuck open. Mm-hmm. You are having wide receivers get open. You're having these dudes who everyone is complaining about, and Nathaniel Hackett's game plan, who everyone's throwing under the bus, the game plan is technically working. If you're getting people open in the NFL, your quarterback's got to be able to hit them. And Russ is no longer trying to be an accurate or an athletic quarterback and shit like that because he wants to extend his career as long as he possibly can. He wants to ensure that these millions of dollars that he's getting are going to be coming his way. So he's going to play a little bit more of a pocket quarterback style. The issue is he's not a pocket passer. No. And that is absolutely showing right now because this guy does not want to skate in the field. He wants to fucking run. But he knows he can't fucking run because if he gets hurt again after last year, all of that money is potentially gone. There's probably some clauses in his contract that if you don't play a full season, you lose out on a shit ton of money.
Most of that money's guaranteed.
Well, I know that, but still. That's the worst part about this, is that, like, why are you playing safe if the money's guaranteed when you're trying to prove yourself right now? So, genuinely, if the money is guaranteed, then why are you playing it safe and not playing the style of quarterback that you've been known for your entire career? This guy used to be known for making magic happen. It's not happening anymore. And he's genuinely a detriment to this team. 15 yards on 3 completed passes in the second half is abysmal. That's fucking terrible. Drew Lock never fucking did that. And I'm not about to go on a Drew Lock fucking tirade right now because I'm sick and tired of doing it, to be completely honest with you. I just like the meme at this point. But genuinely, like, you're calling a kid a bust after 18 games. Not once did he fucking do that. When he has $250 million in his fucking bankroll and his entire team fucking healthy minus a running back and a left tackle.
Yeah. I mean, Hackett's going to be gone after this year.
I think they're definitely going to pull the plug quickly because fucking Peyton is on the hot seat too. Because I think this move is
George Payton.
Yeah, George Payton. This is blown up. And first of all, he brought in Hackett. Second of all, he brought in fucking Russ. And 2 of his biggest moves that he's made have completely derailed this entire team that he'd been building up for 2 years.
I think the biggest difference. I think he'll have another year.
Oh, I think he has another year.
I think the biggest difference is that if they fired him today, he would get another job quick because he was like highly coveted when the Broncos hired him. Yeah. But
I think he just made 2 of his biggest moves that he's made have blown up in his face. And this is what I was saying back when I was a Denver fan was, why would you give up all this draft capital? Why would you give up all of this fucking cap space that we have for a guy who, in my opinion, isn't that great? Genuinely, the guy could draft. The guy knew how to build teams through the draft. I mean, some of these picks that he brought in, I mean, he made the right moves in the draft. That's the only reason they have Devonte Williams. Fucking bringing in guys.
Surtain might be the best pick he's made.
Which, hard to fuck that one up. I would get, duh. But, I mean, there's a couple of...
I mean, you're either going to get Surtain or Michael Parsons, and they're both great.
Well, bro, you got Draymond Jones. You got fucking Browning.
I was going to say, Baron Browning's looking really athletic. Since they moved him from off-ball to outside backer.
Yeah, they've honestly made a lot of great draft picks and depth pieces from the draft, building in the draft. Yeah. Why would you shoot yourself in the foot like that for a guy like Russell Wilson? If I'm doing that, I'm doing it for a guy like Aaron Rodgers who just won MVP back-to-back.
Yeah.
Like, that's and if I can't get him, then I'm lowballing another team for a Matt Ryan type or a fucking Jimmy G type, and I'm fucking giving Drew Lock a chance. Because genuinely, and again, we're taking the Drew Lock bias out of this right now. I know I'm a fucking homer. I know I'm gay for this fucking guy, but I'm going to take it right here. You have a young guy on his last year of a contract. You have no commitment to this guy whatsoever. If he fucking blows, you have a first-round pick to do whatever you fucking want with. You want to trade up? You have the capital. You want to go get fucking C.J. Stroud? Tank. Like, genuinely, this is what I'm telling you. Like, you're now locked into a 5-year-long commitment of being bad. Because I don't think Russ turns around in a year. I don't think Russ turns around in 2-3 years when he gets fucking older. He's 34?
It's younger than that. I think he's
32?
Like 31.
So he's either 31 or 32. By the time his contract's up, it's 36. And if you only give him 3 years of that contract before you move on from him, like, because all that, you're gonna swallow the dead cap and shit like that.
That's how old he is. He's 33.
Yeah. So in 2 years, he's 35, and this is an athletic, mobile quarterback.
Oh, he was born in Cincinnati. Checks out.
Wow, sucks for us. So Broncos fans,
buckle up.
Let's ride, because absolutely this. We're talking roller coasters. Imagine just going straight downhill on minecart for fucking 6 years straight, because that's what it's about to be. I think maybe you're not getting out of this for at least 3 years.
No.
You go 3 years into this contract because of how much this dead cap will fucking ruin you if you move on early. Maybe it's even worth biting it off and just fucking getting it over with. But it's not. That's the issue, is it's not. So if Russell Wilson doesn't win a fucking playoff game in 3 years, first of all, George Payton's not going to be here in another year. I think George Payton gets one more year after this one. Whoever he brings in at coach better be a fucking world beater, because it's not going to work out if he doesn't. And even if he does, I think you have a quarterback who can't read the fucking field as well as some of these other guys who know what their strength is in throwing that fucking ball. You have a quarterback who is great at extending plays and being very athletic. He doesn't want to do that anymore. I've never seen a guy get sacked as much as this guy does.
I mean, that is something that needs to be said, though, is the Broncos' O-line has completely collapsed with injuries, too. And that's just exacerbating an issue that already existed. That's not to absolve anything.
Sure.
But that is damn sure not going to help.
But here's the thing.
I mean, again, I'm not saying this as like a defense. I'm saying, like, from an objective standpoint here, there are things that are also, like, confounding factors. And the injuries to guys like Garrett Bowles and stuff like that is certainly part of it.
Completely fair point. He's been doing this his entire career, though.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's sort of like...
And I'm a hater.
I mean, to compare him to somebody like Joe Burrow or something like that, those are two guys that have always sort of waited because they want the big shots. Like, and that's why Joe Burrow and Russell Wilson have always had, like, a really high sack rate.
Yeah.
It's just, like, they don't like settling for the little plays. They like to take the shots. And that sometimes does not work. So
believe me, I know. But absolutely, I think Russell Wilson used to have the athleticism to give himself more time to do that. Now that he's 33 years old, Father Time's catching up to a guy who's been beaten up as much as he has.
Yep.
He's not the same guy he used to be, and you paid him like he was. So that is, if I'm a Broncos fan, I am going back in time in my time machine, and I am begging the fucking Seattle GM to trade him a year prior to the fucking Bears so that he can go die over in Chicago, and the Broncos can figure out what the fuck they want to do with quarterback. Maybe Drew Lock's not the answer. Fully okay with admitting that.
Most likely.
Well, you would never fucking know because you gave him 18 starts in 3 fucking years.
Listen, the amount you mentioned Drew Lock, I had to get one shot in there just for my own sanity.
Sure. But here's the thing. Denver fans are calling for Drew Lock back already. That's how bad things are right now, because I know I'm crazy.
That is pretty funny.
I know I'm fucking crazy, but I'm scrolling through Twitter and I'm seeing people deliberately tweet towards Drew Lock apologizing to him, fucking begging him to come back, and saying, man, we could have had Drew Lock. We got this fucking guy.
If I'm Denver fans, I would be more just pissed off tweeting at Aaron Rodgers more than I'd be apologizing to Drew Lock. I'd be like, come on, Aaron.
Aaron didn't do anything wrong.
Aaron blue-balled Broncos fans so hard.
So fucking what? He didn't do anything fucking wrong.
I know, but I'm just saying, like,
he was under contract the whole fucking time. Here's the thing, Broncos fans.
I'm not getting into this whole like Drew Lock, Aaron Rodgers. I can't do this.
I'll keep it quick. Broncos fans are fucking stupid. And I'm comfortable with saying that as a former Broncos fan because I've been around you people for far too long.
Stupid knows stupid.
Absolutely. It takes one to know one. Absolutely, you guys are stupid because here's the fucking thing. You guys love talking yourself into situations as if you're bigger than you actually fucking are. The Denver Broncos have been a shit franchise for 6 years and it hasn't looked fucking good. I don't care how loaded that team is. You don't have an owner.
I think I'm going to move this flag over to your side.
I will throw it out and burn it. Genuinely, you guys are dumb. Literally fucking every single month there was a new quarterback that Denver was going to fucking get. They were going to get all 32 quarterbacks in the fucking league at one point. It was Deshaun Watson. Then it was Kyler Murray because he deleted all those fucking pictures. Then it was Matt Stafford, Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson. There were fucking so many different fucking quarterbacks that you guys were clamoring and calling for and saying you were going to get instead of focusing on developing the quarterback on your roster. It's just fucking stupid. You guys blue ball yourself by by thinking that the pretty girl talking to you guys over text was actually going to go out on a date with you when she's getting railed by the fucking jock of the fucking school. So genuinely, I think you're falling for your own.
What a fucking analogy.
Anyways,
you had to use that type of an analogy.
And it's fucking
Are you
accurate.
kidding me?
And it's fucking accurate because the blue balls thing matched perfectly.
Ugh.
Genuinely, the only blue balls that Denver's fucking gonna have are fucking ones that they give themselves because every single fucking year they love talking themselves into a new fucking situation, drinking the fucking Kool-Aid.
It's like someone else I know.
I'm at least rational.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm rational.
God,
I will own up to me being rational as shit.
That's an interesting assessment. We're going to move on from these guys now, though.
Just be better. Just be better. Fucking own up. That's all I'm asking for. Is be a fucking man.
All right.
You Denver Broncos fans are children.
All right. We're going to move on to the two games that were like the two obvious games of the week. These are like potentially the championship game previews. Like, really good chance of it.
You really think Cowboys-Eagles is the NFC Championship?
There's not a ton of consistency in the NFC. There's a lot of things that are possible in the NFC. I just feel like Philly will definitely be there. And
Sure.
Dallas is one of the teams that's flashed enough that they would have a chance. Could be Minnesota. Could be... who the hell else is it going to be?
See, that's the thing is I couldn't
It's not
tell
going to be not going to be the Giants, I don't think.
I think Buccaneers just by default.
If San Fran could ever get fucking healthy,
Maybe San
I'd
Fran.
feel good about us being able to beat Dallas again. But I'm not going to say shit about us till we're healthy. But like in terms of just so far in the year for the NFC, it's been Philly and Dallas has been the next most impressive. So no. But I mean,
I think impressive based on.
listen, I think I'm just
situation.
saying this is a potential NFC Championship
Okay.
matchup.
I'll drop it.
There's only maybe like 3. So
Sure, I agree with
So we're gonna start with that. So Dallas at Philly, Dallas 17, Philly 26. Dallas needs Dak.
My friend just texted me. Green Bay fans should know they're not getting a wide receiver, just like what we were talking about.
Smart. Yeah.
Told you guys, don't fucking buy.
Exactly. The Cowboys need Dak Prescott. I wish this would have been a game where he played because based on how we saw it, the Cowboys can play the Eagles. I mean, Philly got off to a hot start, but after that, Dallas' defense sort of clamped them.
And they do have a great defense.
Yeah. So, I mean, my biggest takeaway from this is if Dallas had Dak, this is a really good game. And Philly is legit, but this is not an invincible team like we'd sort of been seeing. I just thought it was a really good game overall. I looked more forward to their rematch than I did this game.
Yep.
So those are my biggest takeaways. Dallas' defense,
Does Dak
really
come back
good.
this week? Or
Yeah.
Okay. So the
Or
Cowboys.
they said that is their plan. I don't know for sure, but they've said that that's what they're planning on.
I think if you need another week, at least I think Cooper Rush can run the team.
I think you want Dak to be able to warm up, and you give him 2
True.
easier games into the bye week.
Sure. That's not bad at all. I think the Eagles won a game that division rivalry football is always you can never ever go into, in my opinion, you can never go into a division rival game without an expectation that they're going to fight their asses off, regardless of the difference in talent. Especially, I do think the Cowboys' defense is as good as it is, and the offense is really what you're worried about. Just because can you trust Cooper Rush? Are they going to be able to run the ball? There's plenty of question marks on the offensive side with Dak being out. Absolutely, I think Eagles did what they were supposed to. They won a divisional rival game in prime time.
Yeah.
But my thought process is, okay, is Philly going to let this get to their heads, or are they going to keep doing the little things that a winning team does to stay in this position?
Yep.
This is one of the games where, like you said, they don't look invincible. They look vulnerable. They're starting to come down to earth just a little bit. And I'm not saying that all of a sudden they're not the favorites in the NFC right now, but the NFC least that we were talking about has a 4-2 Cowboys team in it, has a 5-1 Giants team in it, and a 6-0 Eagles team in it. You've got rough games constantly this season, with the exception of the Commanders. Got to make sure you're doing the little things right to win these games, and here's an example of them doing that.
I wanted to also go through the Eagles' schedule here.
Sure.
And so we can just sort of try to find the losses.
Sure.
Because just at first glance, they're sort of tough to find. So this week they have Pittsburgh. I'll say this is a maybe because Pittsburgh is just that type of team.
Yeah, I'd say it's a maybe, but I think they do win.
But then you got Texans, Commanders, Colts. I feel pretty confident about all three of those. Maybe Indy shows up for a game, but I doubt it.
Maybe Indy gets the KC effect again.
But I'm not. But I'm not going to pick them.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Then you go Green Bay, Tennessee, Giants. I would say Tennessee's a maybe. If they can just pound them out, maybe. Giants, I think Philly handles. Then they go Bears, Cowboys again, Saints, Giants to finish up the year. Like, they don't play like a truly
good
badass team.
Yeah. No, I think they end up losing a couple, but I think it's more of a.
Yeah.
I think it's a 14-3 team.
Yeah, they'll drop one or two of these. I'll say that Dallas gets them. I'll say Dallas splits
I think Dallas
them.
splits one. I think maybe the Giants can split one too.
Yeah, I would say if I was to pick the losses in here, I think either Pittsburgh or Tennessee will get them.
Yeah, one or the other.
And then I think that, I'll say Dallas and the Giants split.
Yeah, that's
so.
I'll
I'll say that they get 3 losses.
Yeah,
but I don't feel that great about it. Like, they don't play a juggernaut.
No, I think I think they very well could end up walking into the playoffs and getting, smacked in the mouth. Maybe not lose, but all of a sudden realize, we're not as, it's on the way to the big dance.
They're gonna go 17-0 and lose the Super Bowl.
Oh my god, that'd be crazy.
I don't even think it'd be that crazy because they could go 17-0 and I still wouldn't pick them against whoever the hell comes out of the AFC.
Yeah, I don't pick them over Buffalo. I don't pick them over KC. I don't pick them over Cincy. I don't pick them over the Ravens, to be honest. I don't pick them over who else? I think that might be it for the AFC teams.
I rank them 3rd in the league right now, just in terms of like if I was to like put them in tiers. But yeah, it's like their losses are tough to find. They don't play a particularly tough schedule. And, I mean, most of their tough games are their division games, so they'll probably drop 1 or 2 in there, but we'll see. Yeah. But overall, this is a game where Philly won the game. Good on them. Dallas showed that they can absolutely hang with them. And if Dak Prescott's playing, I think this is a really legit game. So that's an interesting one. And then I just really wanted to wrap up with Bills Chiefs because it felt like the game of the week. It was the game that everyone wanted, and it actually lived up.
Yeah.
Buffalo goes into Kansas City and wins 24-20 in a game that had everyone in the nation outside of Kansas City
rooting for
really happy about.
Yeah.
So,
rooting for Buffalo. First time. Crazy. Like, when I saw this stat, first fucking time in Mahomes' career he's been underdog. And at
home.
Yeah. Fucking the dick riding of Mahomes, for that to be the fucking case.
Well, for him to be an underdog at home ever since he started, I mean, they basically win almost all their games.
Bro, they've played some great teams in the time.
They have, but the Chiefs, for the most part, they've been rightfully favored at home.
I'm saying for the most part, rightfully favored. Absolutely, they've been a stacked team since Mahomes got in the league.
Yeah,
and Mahomes has been a juggernaut since he's got in the league. That not gonna deny
it is
that.
what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. The fact that this is the first time, granted, shout out the Buffalo Bills for fucking being favored in this fucking game and living
and then doing it,
and then fucking doing it, because fuck Mahomes. But genuinely, there are a couple games where I genuinely would.
I would have
thought something.
Yeah. Did they ever play the Brady Pats in Kansas City in the regular season?
That's what I'm thinking. Is they probably played them in July.
I think they played them at New England.
Yeah.
So I think that if the Brady Pats came to Kansas City, that'd be one of the ones.
Yeah.
Other than that, though, you would have to bet on somebody that's really consistent to put the Chiefs as dogs at home.
There are a couple teams that.
Like, who in the last couple years, though, would you be like, I feel so confident?
The Ravens, 14-2 Ravens.
The Ravens have
I don't think
they struggled to beat the Chiefs.
Well, yeah, but I would before. Yes, now they've struggled to beat the Chiefs. But when Lamar was winning MVP, hands down, nobody else could fucking even touch him. I would, if they played at KC, I would bet on the Ravens in that game. Probably. You're wrong because Mahomes knows how to beat the Ravens and the Ravens don't know how to beat the Chiefs.
They don't. Yeah, I think the first time they beat them was last year.
Yeah, but genuinely, during the 14-2 Ravens run, that's a team that I would consider maybe 11-0, 13-0 Steelers.
I don't think so. I think everybody was onto them.
I think everyone was onto them for sure, but I think with the defense and everything that year, maybe. But No, I don't think there's. I think there's a handful of teams that maybe you pick over the Chiefs in that situation. But that's all I'm asking for is how is this the first fucking time? And granted, I'm just throwing this shit out here. Like I'm not asking for answers, and I'm not saying this is bullshit. I'm just like when I saw that was the case, I was like, no.
God damn
I was like,
it.
no fucking way. Like that is that is a monster fucking stat that no one's gonna shut up about because they showed the fucking streak of games of who like when has this been the case?
Yep.
And they're all from the fucking 70s, with the exception of Mahomes.
Yeah.
And it's just like, bro, you're telling me Brady didn't get...
Brady one was.
Yeah, I was going to tell me, you're telling me Brady's not even in that fucking ballpark? You're telling me Manning with the Colts not in that ballpark?
You want to know why I don't think they're in there? It's because they played each other at some point. And so one of those other two was favored in like a year where their team was really hot.
Yeah, it must have been the case.
I think that'd be the thing. I mean, this also shows just how highly everyone thinks of Buffalo.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Which is well-deserved after this game.
Nothing wrong with it, but here's my biggest takeaways from this game. These are the two best teams currently in the league. They can it might change or something down the stretch or something like that. Injuries are always crazy and stuff like that. But as of today, and in terms of how they're playing, these are the two best teams in the league. It is likely the AFC Championship preview because these two will likely be 1 and 2 in the standings, and so they won't play each other before it. Mm-hmm. And Buffalo proved to be the best. If this game is in Buffalo, if Kansas City wins that game, good on them, whatever. But Buffalo showed that like they don't have any problem playing the Chiefs at their game in their house.
Stuck with them the whole time.
Yeah, I really liked the fact that they also. I mean, we talked about a lot about how people be like, "Oh, it was a really good defensive game" or something like that. A lot of times, just sloppy offense. This was a game where those two defenses genuinely played well because those two offenses were genuinely playing well. Like, this was a really, really great back and forth. Like, I prefer this to, like, a 51-49 game.
Really?
Yes. I don't like those games because it's like, okay, great. Yeah,
I love all that offense.
I don't. I like when football teams show that they have to be complete. And these two teams show that they are complete. And that they can like win in several different ways when they're playing two of the biggest juggernauts at their positions. And that's what gives me the confidence of these two against a lot of other teams is like you're not going to have a much bigger challenge than facing Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes and those two teams. And neither of these two teams backed down much. And it just happened to be that the Bills were a couple plays better. But by no means does that mean like if they play again, it's not some huge margin. I would still pick Buffalo, but these two just felt like I don't know. It just feels like these two are bound to go at it again, and it's going to be a monster game. And I so hope it's in Buffalo.
I think it'll probably end up being in Buffalo. But yeah, no, I don't think I have anything more to add to that. To be honest, I think that's really well said. These are the two best teams in the NFL and AFC, obviously, but in the NFL. I think Josh Allen's probably got to be a little bit happy that I got some little taste of revenge for 13 seconds last year. I don't think they're done yet, though. I think they've got more on their minds than just this rematch.
They also showed that they had no fear of that. Where they were like, they scored a touchdown. They were like 1 minute, 10 minutes, 13 seconds, 13 minutes. F you, game over.
Yeah, no, and again, their defense did exactly their job, suffocating Mahomes in that final drive, causing him to throw that fucking pick. So.
Von Miller had a crazy game. 2 sacks, 9 pressures, and including like 2 of like the biggest plays of the game. He's the one that forced him out on that last interception.
Hey, that's Von.
Like that's why this is the game that they signed Von Miller for, and he came through.
And he did exactly what he needed to do.
I mean, these two teams. I mean, I hope they don't get injured because it feels like this is the AFC Championship we all deserve. I know you're going to say otherwise, but just in terms of like, it feels like no one else is going to be able to knock them off unless it's just some
Joe
off
Burrow
day.
being the man.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say it, but okay, you can say it all you want, but. I'm not going to. There's not another team in the AFC that deserves to be favored over these two.
That's fair. And I think, my ideal playoffs again are obviously I'd like the championship to go down to Bengals, Bills. I'm not going to sit here week 7 and say,
You're not gonna pound your chest.
I would go into that game with a very real understanding of our season's probably over the second that whistle blows.
It's not great.
But genuinely, if you're losing to Josh Allen and this Buffalo Bills team, no shame on you at all. Especially if you're able to make it to the AFC
Dude, there's no
Championship.
shame in losing to either of these two.
Absolutely, I would very much love to go 3-0 in the 3-0 against Mahomes, and have Joe Burrow continue to be Mahomes' daddy, and then Josh Allen can put the babysitter to sleep. Like,
and then I can call Josh Allen daddy and be fine.
And then everything's great. No, but genuinely, betting against Josh Allen and the Bills right now is impossible. If they end up losing games, it's because it's a bad day in the office. I don't think it happens much more often. Yeah.
I mean, if I had to tell you right now, if I had to pick like my dream teams that make the playoffs in the AFC, like here's who I want to make it, and in this order: Buffalo will be 1, KC will be 2. I'll say Baltimore gets in at 3. Whoever the fuck wins the South has to get in at 4. And then I'll say wild cards in any particular order. I don't particularly care.
No, give me Bengals 5. You know you want to.
I was going to say Chargers and Bengals are 5 and 6. I don't really care. And then 7, Miami.
Yeah, I think that's about right.
That's what, if I, like, my dream playoff matchups, it'd be those. Buffalo gets the bye. Miami goes to Kansas City. Probably loses. Chargers or Bengals go to. Yeah, I'm gonna say I want Bengals at 6. So Bengals go to Baltimore, and Chargers go to.
I'll take it.
The AFC South, just because I want. Well, I'm saying just because I just want the drama of the third matchup.
We split one in the regular season because I know that's happening. We're winning in Cincinnati.
Sure, you can say it. I'm just saying that I would love to see. I would love to see round 3 between Ravens Bengals. Chargers can go fucking deal with Tennessee or whoever. And then, Miami can go and get swiftly dispatched by Kansas City. And then you can go... You can just go from there. I don't really care. If Bengals win, they'd go... You'd get your Kansas... if Bengals win in this scenario, they'd go to Buffalo right away.
No. I don't like that.
Yeah. I don't really care. I don't really care. But, then it'd be like Chargers, Chiefs, Bills, Bengals, and then I think you get Bills, Chiefs, and whatever. But those are the 7 teams I'd like, and because I just think they seem to be the 7 that I think are the best. Miami just needs the quarterback. So, but overall, that's what I think. These two teams showed that they are a beast to be handled, and the only teams that seem to be able to really deal with them are each other. So, like I said, anything can happen in the NFL. It's a 1-game series. Anything can happen, but...
Who doesn't love sudden death, baby?
But these two it really does feel like these two are not done with each other yet, and it's going to be a bloodbath when they go at it again. I just hope Buffalo does it again.
I think whoever wins the AFC Championships win the bowl. So
yeah.
No.
I feel pretty good about that.
Yeah.
Unless by some god-awful witchcraft, Tennessee gets out of the AFC.
Oh my God.
Could you imagine if we talk all the shit and the AFC South team gets out of the AFC?
The Jags.
I feel very confident in saying it won't be them.
The Jags beat out the fucking Dolphins for a wild card spot, and they just fucking run it with Sheila. I've been here before.
Yeah, that'd be nasty.
Yeah, I would put money down on the Jaguars just for that.
There you go.
You never know. The payout would be massive.
Yeah, I'll admit it at this point. I'm hoping it's Kansas City Buffalo for the AFC Championship, just because it feels like it should be.
At this point, yeah. But
so we'll see. A lot can happen, but as of week 6, those two teams both came into it with a lot of momentum, and they both lived up and played a great game. This is like opposite of every Colts and Chargers win. I don't care that Kansas City lost. I'm still like, they really showed that they can hang, though. So this is one where I think they both came out of this game with their stock going up. Yeah. Which is great for the league, because it's like that's what the league probably wanted out of this was you come out of it feeling like, man, they could both still beat each other next time. So, but I think that just about does it for me.
Yeah, same. All right. Other than fuck the Broncos.
There you go. One last time. How to get it in. All right. Well, thanks so much for tuning in, you guys. See you again next week.
Yeah, it's good to be back.
Hell yeah. Peace.